welcome to the Red Match Podcast. How's it going, everybody? Today
It's
we
good,
have
good.
we have Billy
Going on,
Amberg
guys?
from A2B Motorsport, all the way from the East Coast. We appreciate you hanging out late. Today
Seriously.
is part 69 of our 420 part series on Volkswagens.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
You can't hit on the sport.
Those are lots of good numbers.
That's because they're doing big things, man.
They are doing big things.
things.
If you haven't noticed from all of the cool, so we've had Ed and Dave from EQT on, and now we have Billy on here. And if you haven't noticed yet, if you want to make big power and not worry about the ass falling out of the car, it seems like you should be buying a Volkswagen these days. And I'm sure we'll dig into that some more with Billy, who built some big horsepower shit on the East Coast. But thank you for being here, man. We appreciate it. We do really appreciate
No
you
problem,
coming
guys. Thanks for having me. I got hell.
on.
I'd be in there getting yelled at by people and the whole usual for not having stuff done if I wasn't here. So now I get to tell them to come yell at you guys. So
yeah,
Cheers.
Those
Yeah.
fucking
Definitely.
Just make sure that they like and subscribe, just like you motherfuckers. And I didn't forget this time.
Yeah, we appreciate you. I saw it
earlier.
earlier. We appreciate you. Trying to get it going.
It doesn't matter how shitty this podcast ends. We're gonna call it a win today, babe. Because
Yes.
I didn't even get 20 minutes in before I remember to say that shit. But yeah, man. So we usually do a thing where we just kind of, say what's up and see what we're drinking. But obviously, you're still fucking working at 9:48 p.m. right? But
this is normal.
Is it?
Oh yeah, I'm usually here till midnight, 1 o'clock.
Doing what?
It's when I do cool
That's
stuff.
insane.
It's
Yeah.
when I can actually get stuff done. The phone
Mhm.
stops. We set up the phones now where the phone stops pretty much hard stop at 4:30 our time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I can actually go into the shop, get things done. My fab guy comes in at nights, works nights here outside of his day job of customizing trucks.
Okay.
And we're able to
Pretty tight.
actually
Oh, so you
get
actually
things
get to
done.
go out. You have to go out and wrench on cars then.
What's up?
You get to go actually wrench on cars then, like after you're done
Oh,
doing
yeah.
with customers. Oh, that's dope.
Otherwise, I'm stuck up here all day.
I know the feeling.
All right, we have to take a brief moment, and we just have to. I know this is completely off subject, but we have to just take a big round of applause because Mike no longer sounds like he's screaming inside of a metal bucket. Thank you so much for buying a microphone.
Can I show it to you? I can. Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
I showed you. We're almost a
I
real
didn't realize it
podcast.
would go that high.
Yeah, so that's what she said.
Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So trying to, as always, trying to improve the quality of the podcast, bought some new gear, all that good stuff. But that's not what's important. What's important is, Billy, tell us a little bit about A2B for those who don't know you guys, and what you do, and who aren't Volkswagen guys. Like, what do you guys specialize in? How'd you get into the business? How'd you get into Volkswagen specifically? Basically, just talk about yourself, so I don't have to.
No, that's dude. So basically, I'll probably answer the most asked question first, and that was, what does A2B stand for? And that came along one day when we were, I want to say it was Waterfest 2014 or 15. All our cars were broke. Everything fucking blew up. First day we were there, first hour. And we were drunk in the pits, and I was bitching how I couldn't get the car to go from point A to point B down the track. And I don't know how that happened. We were brainstorming company names, I think a year later, and someone hit, well, now that you have a car that can go A to B, why aren't you A2B Motorsport? And pretty much it's the start to the finish line of a drag strip.
Yep. Fucking
And
makes sense.
That's awesome.
pretty much how the shop came to be is I worked at Volkswagen here at a local dealer, Trend Motors, for, since, holy shit, I think 2012. I worked there till just 2021 till about 2019. And from 2017 to 19, I built these Mark 7s and everything on the side. I was building engines out of my mom's house, and I'll be the first straight up to admit, wasn't the best quality work. I was working with what I had at the time, things like that, but pretty much built up a nice customer base, a nice following out here, doing it all as side work outside of the dealership. And next thing I know, I had too much. I got my mom yelling at me. hey, you got to get this shit out of my house. The town's coming down our neighborhood. We lived in a cul-de-sac. It would just fill the Volkswagens. I'd have guys come drop their cars off from like New York City for like timing belts and things because I was doing stuff so
Damn.
cheap. Here, for reference for where you guys live in areas where the labor rate's probably pretty high.
Yeah.
And I was doing clutches on GTIs back then for $300 in my mom's garage.
What the fuck? That doesn't
A
go
Golf
for parts,
R?
dog.
A Golf R was $400. You brought all your own parts. You'd hang out in the garage, the garage in my mom's house for the day, or just drop it off. I was doing 4 clutches a day on my back on the Saturday and Sunday.
Jeez, yeah.
And back then it was good money for me. I mean,
So how much money do you spend in like chiropractic and massage?
this is when I was still in shape and I was playing soccer and stuff still. Now I live
That's
here, so I got
hardcore,
nothing.
man.
What how old are you guys, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 34.
26.
How old do you guys think I am?
You look
47.
My
like
honest
I'm just gonna-
opinion,
Yeah.
like mid 40s.
No.
you
I'm
look like
You're like
I'm
28,
28
29.
years old. I
Yeah.
just turned 28 in October.
Everybody just fucking
Get
age
out
the
of the
fuck
fucking
out.
car business. Get out of
Yep.
the car business now for yourself.
I'm
You look
28.
handsome, Billy.
Thank you.
you.
Yeah, I was a Volkswagen tech at VW since I was 18. I actually went to school. My background, I spent a year there before I dropped out. I had a bad temper when I was younger. Threw a book at a professor in college. Didn't last much longer after that. Yeah. I had a scholarship for soccer. Fucked all that up back then. But my background's computer programming and engineering and actually video game design.
Oh, shit. Okay.
What the fuck?
That's what I went to school. I grew up like hacking iPhones in high school. That's how I paid
Jailbreaking
for
them
all
and shit?
modding my car. Yeah, I would go through high school. I would charge people $150, go on their iPod Touch, type in jailbreak my iPod, load the software, and then give it back to them and be like, here you go, $150. I built.
Oh my god.
I had. Let's see. On my old Facebook, I lost a lot of the photo. I think they're on my Flickr somewhere if I can ever get into
What the
it.
fuck is a flicker?
Yeah, that's exactly. I used to do a bunch of photography. And
Okay.
back then, I was like, when I was 16, 17, I had a Mark V Jetta. Iola drive swapped it in my mom's garage, paid for it, running modded Call of Duty lobbies on Xbox, where you come in and you kill one person and you're already prestiged.
Oh, shit.
Just to modify Xboxes,
Yo,
shit
man,
like
this
that.
is
fucking hustler.
No,
I
it's
like
just
this.
no, this is some straight
Man is a
fucking
hustler.
listen,
Holy
listen.
shit.
Everything back then.
So
I had a big turbo, built motor, Mark V, all the
Goddamn.
drive swap Jetta way back when. It's actually how I met Jeff Atwood at United Motorsport, was doing that when I was like 16, 17, 18. And you say, goddamn, but that car didn't get very far. We ended up, I think I drove it 6 times I drove it once to Georgia. It took me 29 hours to get to Soho because I broke down probably more times than I could count. Big shout out to all my friends that, if they're listening to this, that remember that and were with me through that time. They helped out tremendously. I had my one buddy, Audi Mike, sat with me for, I think we made a 16-hour drive or something like that into a 28-hour drive. And we were
Good
rebuilding
goddamn.
axles and AutoZone parking lots. I think we put
Oh
a new
my
gearbox
gosh.
in the car because I just manual swapped it and all-wheel drived it. And then when I moved out, my mom scrapped the car. She said, I don't want this shit in my garage. And I moved in.
Hurtful.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was
to
like,
be fair, like a Mark V Jetta, not the most attractive vehicle.
I understand.
Hell
No,
man.
no,
But
excellent.
it's
Well, I
still
learned a
all-wheel
long time-
drive swap.
guys,
That's
I learned
gangster
a
as
long
fuck.
time ago, though. It's a chick's car, Mark V Jetta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but chicks dig chicks' cars. It's
This
like
is
guys that drive
true.
TTRS.
This is
TTRS,
true.
you know, the joke is it's a hairdresser's car, but
But-
you drive around a
I still
TTRS,
want
and
one.
women love them.
That's because you're a hairdresser. No. I had a RSX back in the day, which is like, the fatter, worse DC4 Integra, but it just, but it's kind of it's a chick car. It's kind of a chick car, right? But the man's not lying.
I think every trashy girl I knew in high school drove one of those.
Yes.
The defense rests.
Point taken.
And their boy, whoever they were dating at the time, would cut the springs, nightshade out the taillights and stuff.
We didn't do
Drive
that.
the
No,
car
we didn't.
meets.
No. First of all, the real scumbag mod is cutting all the baffles out of the airbox. So it just goes all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Have
what
you
I've
ever done
learned
the
from
washer trick on a Subaru?
Yes.
The washers. The
You
fucking-
put it in, but so you
I
put it
hide
in,
from
but
Subarus, man. I hate those things.
yeah, well, so do they. It's funny. So
Oh man,
you put washers in between. So the Subaru trick is you take 3 washers and you put them in between the end of the downpipe and the start of the mid pipe.
Yep.
And just a little bit of an exhaust leak gives you a little bit of
Little
rumble. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little- It's post O2. It's fine. It doesn't hurt anything. It's
Yeah.
stupid. It's real dumb. Super
But
ignorant.
it's great.
well, there was a mod that back in the day when VW Vortex was still a thing,
Oh fuck.
where
God.
you would take a 5-cylinder NA motor, Mark V Jetta,
The Tube
and
5
you
or
would
whatever the fuck it
drill
was.
the airbox in the back
Oh my
behind
god.
the air filter. And if you drilled it enough, when you accelerated, it would make like an artificial whooshing noise.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a lot. And if you just started tapping the throttle while you're driving, you would end up actually making a turbo noise. Because back then it was the turbo one of those things. It was like $7,000. What the fuck? No way. It was like $7,000, and it high
It was
school
also
kids
a
owned those
bad
things.
idea. Like just kind of dumb. You know what I
That was,
mean?
when, that was when like 6 pounds of boost was cool.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so
So I,
funny
like,
too because it's like so I drive an STI and so does Mike and mine's like it's relatively modest. It's like right at the cusp of like where you have to start throwing obnoxious amounts of money at it, right? It's like
We have a
everything.
downpipe on the car and an intake then.
No, intake downpipe. I mean, intake downpipe, fuel
Damn.
pump, that kind of shit. I actually put a pump in it. It's pushing more fuel.
I
like,
can't help it, man. Those things scare me. Every time I help my friends with one of those things, I'm like, dude, this is an easy car to work on, and I like it. And I probably, if I did a lot, it would be a nice car to build. But I'm like,
You don't want to touch a single STI that's pre 2019. And so here's the thing. They did the Type RA, right? And the Type RA was like the super, which everybody who's ever driven will tell you it's amazing. It's too fucking expensive. Way too fucking expensive. But they fixed a lot of the inherent issues with that engine, right? Which is like why you couldn't get more than 350 wheel out of it without building a fucking bottom end, right? So the newer ones you can get them to like 500 wheel on it and with a stock bottom end, and they'll do it reliably and all that shit. It's just still super fucking expensive to do it because the engine's old. It doesn't have direct injection. It's 8.5 to 1 compression. You got to put a fucking turbo and injectors and all that type. You got to do everything, fucking everything, right? It's like $12,000 to get 400 horsepower out of an STI.
What I didn't like was I helped a friend of mine build a WRX, and he's like, dude, I got no idea what I'm doing. And when it really comes down to building a car, an engine is an engine. Yes,
Yeah,
everyone
to some degree.
specializes in a different one,
Yeah.
but an engine's an engine. Well, Subaru, I don't know where they make these cases, makes them
Display
so
cases.
poor and
Yeah.
inconsistent
Yeah.
that for him, we had to go on and he ordered every single size King main bearing you could get.
Yeah.
And you would literally just have to dump
What
them
year
all.
was the WRX?
Bucket. Oh shit. It was either a Hawkeye or a Bug Eye.
Okay, so that's like it's an EJ20.
Super
Yeah.
fucked.
That's
So you
super
have to
bad.
mic out every single crank journal, and then you have to use a bore gauge on every single journal.
You know the
And
best way. You know the
inconsistency
best
was
way to
so
mod a
bad. You just had to
WRX
mix
that
and
year.
match all of them.
You know the best way to mod a WRX that year? Sell it and buy an STI. That's the best way to mod a
No, but speaking of that, I was on I think it was Facebook Marketplace today. And dude, there was a dude selling S209 19-inch with the gold wheels, right?
Yeah.
$6,600 fucking dollars. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
And what's funny is I don't think they're any wider than the normal STI wheels.
No,
it's fucking dumb. Yeah.
No, it's other than it's
It
gold.
was a
and I think
70
technically-
Shit idea.
I think technically it's a BBS wheel. I think those are like real BBS wheels.
Well, they are. Those are BBSs. All the other ones get Yankees. But listen, what do you fucking expect? Somebody spent $75,000 on an STI from the factory.
Disgusting.
I did
it's
include
fucking
dealer
dumb.
market, by the way.
No, that's
I mean,
no,
that's
that-
like the guys buying Mark 8s right now that dealers are marking
Oh,
up
yeah.
$10,000-$15,000.
I want, yeah, but dude, I would fucking get rid of my 19 STI for a Mark 8 Golf R in a second. I wouldn't even
Really?
think twice.
You like
Fuck
how they're
yes.
styled?
Don't they?
Yeah.
They look great. I would tell you to wait a little bit longer. The infotainment, the
Oh,
whole
well,
instrument
first of all, I
cluster,
can't
like,
afford
is
one with a
garbage.
15 grand markup, so no worries there, brother. But I like the way the Golf R looks. I hate the way the GTI looks, but the front bumper is different enough to where I can like be okay with it. The interior is what gets me. I'm a big interior guy, right? Because
Yeah, that interior.
that's
is
where you
sick.
spend that's where you spend all
Yeah.
your time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you see. Whatever the outside of the car looks is great when you park it, but when you're driving it, and I drive 30 miles to work one way, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's Texas, brother. Everything's fucking an hour away. So
Or
yeah,
Everything's bigger in Texas.
yeah, especially the
That's-
piles of
that's a
bullshit.
lie.
Anyway, so I want to be in somewhere nice, and I'm a sucker for a digital dash and 6 seats and all that kind of. I sold Range Rovers, dude, so I got real accustomed to just nicer looking shit, even if it doesn't work super great. But when you couple that with like,
I'm sorry.
I mean, show me the lie.
My
When
best friend owns 2 of them, and it's the
It's just
realest
so
thing I've
true.
ever heard.
Did he own
It
them, or
is.
does he own them, or did he lease them?
Oh no, he made the mistake of owning them, and he
Okay,
went
I
from
don't
2
know.
BMWs to 2 Range Rovers now. Or
I
Land
don't know
Rovers,
how to
Range
tell you
Rovers.
this, but your friend may actually be, certifiably stupid because you don't buy a
your
Range
friend
Rover.
helps pay my bills because my wife's the service advisor at Land Rover, and like, dude, those shits are always fucking breaking. So we appreciate your friend.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you guys,
Sure.
if you get a trailer hitch off of one of the newer, what's it, the new Range Rover, the Sports, if you ever find a trailer hitch kicking around, I'll take that thing. He needs one that's under that's not $2,000 to put on the truck.
Oh yeah, good luck finding.
Oh,
that.
I used to
His-
make service so much money.
His
When-
salesman sold him one because he bought it strictly. So he's got a Malibu wake setter surf boat,
Yeah.
and he would tow it between the lake and back, and he bought this specific Range Rover because of how nice it is on the inside. It's exactly how you described why you like them.
Right?
Because there's a picture of one towing a giant like racing boat.
Fraudulent.
The sales guy goes, dude,
Lies.
this thing will be great to tow the boat. It's got a
Lies.
hitch, everything. He didn't look. I go, bro, where's the hitch on this thing? Let's use it to tow my boat out. He's like, oh yeah, let's pull the cover off the back. I get under there. It takes me 45 minutes to get the cover off the back because there's like
Bad idea.
100 screws.
Mhm.
And guess what? There's no hitch there.
No.
The look of disappointment on his face. He goes back to the dealer. They're like, yeah, it's a $3,000 option.
Ooh.
What?
He's like,
So
What?
okay, so what he's
Hey,
what
hold
he's
on, hold on,
no what
time
he's
out.
talking about, what he's
Billy,
talking about, what he's
Billy.
talking about. What I know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about not the hitch because the hitch is $650 with the trailer wiring. He's talking about the tow pack, which is a thing where you can turn the knob and it'll back the truck up, and you can tell the car how
Yeah,
big
that's
the trailer is and all
trailer-
that other shit. Trailer
I don't
assist.
care about that. I just need the normal hitch. It doesn't even need
Yeah.
the lights. Don't even need to work.
Yeah, no, that's what they'll
Yeah.
try to sell you though.
He's
It's,
paying for the electronic shit that goes bloop.
It's and to be fair, it's real fucking gangster because you can program in exactly how big, tall, wide, everything your trailer is. So it'll tell you when you're about to hit something with your trailer without having sensors on it. It's fucking gangster, but it's $3,000.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a hitch though. That's
You have
what
to
Yeah,
it's
no,
like.
that's a
install
huge
the hitch,
problem,
and you
like-
have to cut into the
So-
bumper to make a hole for the hitch.
No, you don't. You have to buy a whole new rear fascia.
Tell your boy to fly me out. I'll do the hitch for him.
Ooh,
This is the most
shit.
fucking East Coast thing ever. He's on a podcast on the phone right now.
I'm calling him right now. Tell him that he's an idiot. That it's only $650.
Hey, Mike, tell me
It's
why
$650
we
if you
gotta-
buy the truck new. It's $1,500 if you want him to do it after the fact.
Hey,
$1,500.
Yeah,
and then tell him all he has to do is pay for my flight ticket out there, and I'll do it in your
yeah.
shop.
So because the
Whatever.
thing is that the parts for the
We'll
fascia
film it.
don't come painted. They don't come painted, so you have to pay to
Nope.
get them painted. You have to
Yep.
pay to get them installed. You have to
Nope.
take the whole rear bumper off because it bolts into the rear like support of the.
And then
chassis,
cut it and all that
It's
shit.
chassis mounted, so
Oh,
it's.
There's
I mean,
no
it's
cutting.
yeah.
No cutting.
There's no cutting, but you do
No
have to.
cutting.
No,
No.
but you have to remove. You have to remove the like. There's a factory rear brace, and you have to put the trail hitch in its place, and then there's a whole different rear fascia. The wiring is already there. The plug is
There's
like
no-
there.
Yeah. Time out.
Like the Volkswagen Atlases are like that. When I left the dealer, we were doing trailer hitches on those, and those Those weren't bad, but the best part about it was Volkswagen would tell you it was a simple install for like an hour. The techs will sympathize and the writers, an hour of labor, but you got to take the bumper off. Then they give you like a stencil, you got to tape on it and cut a hole in the guy's bumper. And
Yeah,
the customers
so-
were always happy with that.
When we worked at Porsche,
Oh,
They
that's
didn't
right, because
run
you both
shit.
got fired. Anyway.
yeah, pretty much.
All the
Technically,
drinks for that?
I walked out. So I didn't get fired. I walked out.
You walked out and then tried to
I-
come back,
I-
and
I
they
got
said
fired.
you're fired.
Yeah, come in on Monday. We'll sign paperwork. Oh, okay, that's great.
Cool.
But no, like they used to have like Porsche wouldn't put any of that bullshit in there. Like there was no control unit, there was no like wiring, there was nothing for any of that shit. You literally had to go
That's-
in, pull
go
it all
on your own.
apart. Yeah, like
Fuck
that
that.
shit was
Hope-
fucking dumb.
You had to hope
expensive.
you could find the bulletin on how to do that on ServiceNet too,
Yes.
because they'd hide it. And then you'd contact Techline or something for help, like TAC, and they'd be like, "Are you an idiot? It's right here under bulletin number TT21-16-45."
You're like,
Like
oh
you
yeah.
didn't find that?
Oh, my bad. I thought that was the dildo update. Never mind.
Fucking another
It's-
technician.
Yeah. If it's not a 2020 and newer Range Rover, it is literally bumper comes off, support comes off, new tow bar goes on. There's another underbody brace that goes on that attaches to it, which doesn't always line up.
Weird.
And then bumper goes
You
back on.
don't say.
Your electrics go on, and then bumper goes on, and then that's it. You program
But-
it, and then send
Right,
it.
but here's the fun
That was
part.
3
Here's the
hours
fun.
of labor.
No, but here's the fun part about the.
we
he said
charge
he's,
5.5.
he says he's at $165 a shop hour, whatever the fuck it is now, right?
225.
Okay, there we go.
165.
225.
Raise 225.
Here's the funniest part.
225.
Oh,
Here's the
Yeah,
funniest part.
240.
And I know
240.
that, and I know this because I've sold a lot of those tow hitches after the fact, right? Because like with Rovers, it's not as simple as like, oh, I have another one that's just like the one you want and has a tow. That no, motherfucker, they come on a boat from the UK and like 6 dudes in a shed built them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have what I have. So like,
All I
and I'm
got.
trying to close this deal. You know what I'm saying? So I would be like, okay, we can put one on. We can roll it into the price of the truck, and then I have to try to like hide it somewhere or whatever, right? But he says, "Oh, you
Fucking
just
sales guy.
program the electrics." Man, 9 times out of 10, you run the program, and then it corrupts and it crashes, and then you got to do it again.
Yeah.
And 3 of the hours that bitch is in the shop, it's trying to get the truck to update for the tow hitch, so it actually
Yes.
fucking knows what it's done. It's all buttoned up. It's just sitting there with this fucker's computer plugged into the OBD2 port, taking up a lift, waiting for that fucking update.
100%.
And
yeah.
that's not unique to just you guys. Like that's a
Oh, sure.
Volkswagen Audi thing too, man. We used to.
Oh,
I had 2
yeah.
lifts when I worked at the dealership, and I think one of them we had a flash that would take an hour and 40 minutes on Jettas. And it
you
paid-
6 cents.
It paid you like 50 time units at best. And then you'd go check on it. You'd go over. All right, I'm good. Go over again. All right, I'm good.
It didn't move.
Damn, that sucks. And then you go back again, and then the laptop's off, and you're like, guess I'm starting that over now. Service writer comes out. Service writer comes out yelling at you, and then you're like,
Oh yeah.
not my fault.
How
this
are,
is
how
the
are the
shit-
Range Rovers on keys? It's like I had a customer the other week bring in a key from eBay, and
Oh,
you know it's a
no.
wrong
We
key.
don't-
when-
Oh yeah.
when
we
they
don't
bring it
know.
in for a Macan and it
Oh.
has like a front trunk and a rear trunk opener on the
was
button.
my
Oh,
favorite.
no.
Wow.
And I go to try
We-
to program it, and it cut out the original keys program,
Yeah.
and the alarm is just going off, and
Nice.
like my tech is trying to like stop it, and it won't reprogram the first key, and it took him an hour and a half to reprogram the first key just to get the alarm to stop going off.
We
Oh my
don't.
God.
We don't.
I
do
wish you would have
aftermarket.
called me. I could have told
Yeah.
you that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we don't do
We do the
aftermarket.
same thing. No
Yeah.
aftermarket keys.
Yeah, they won't do aftermarket keys. You have to have all the keys present if they're programming a new key.
Yes. That's every new car though. That's every
Yeah,
new
it's
car.
true. But like they used to, so they have this stupid, and he knows, Kyle knows what I'm talking about. They have this stupid fucking activity band. Well, it's actually pretty dope now because it's actually like a watch, like it tells time and shit. But before it was just like a rubber, it looked like a Fitbit with no screen on it, right? And the whole point of it was that you could lock the keys in the car. You can put them in the center console and you can tap the badge to the R in Range Rover on the back, and it would lock the car, and then you could go fucking kayaking. Which, let me tell you, if I know one thing about Range Rover owners, average kayakers, all of them,
None
every
of
single
them.
one.
Not
Literally
even-
not a single one.
Not a single fucking
never in a million years. Hey, but they all wanted the stupid fucking activity, man. All of them.
Yeah,
It's
the
the
people
dumbest
that
shit I've ever
use
seen.
Range Rovers that like the people that Range Rover are trying to sell to are Subaru Forester owners.
Yes. And here's the dumbest part is they built this motherfucker to be able to traverse the Sierra and the Sahara. And it's like, oh, it just goes to the grocery
Sierra.
store. Yeah, whatever. Sierra Mountains, fucking same shit. It goes to the fucking grocery store. It goes to the fucking hair salon. It goes to the nail
I got
salon.
that.
It goes back to Gucci and then back to the house. That bitch never sees off road, right? Anyway, we used to have to program these things. And these
You
ignorant
forgot the
motherfuckers.
detail shop.
That's true. And also the service center. We fucking would tell them.
That's when it goes to the detail shop is after it's at the
Yes.
service
You
center.
never-
Otherwise,
this
it's not
is the thing-
between-
this is the thing
between
that
that.
nobody
It's been
tells
there
you
for
about
4
Range
months. It's been
Rovers.
there for 4 months.
No, this is the
4
thing
months.
nobody tells you about Range Rovers. Free car washes for life because the service center will always wash it before they hand it back to you. So they would, you know, the car wouldn't come with
shit.
one pre-program, so you have to buy the stupid thing, which is another $650 just for a bracelet, $650 because you got to pay an hour of labor to program it, and they would always forget a key. We would tell them every single
Always.
time, bring both keys because the car comes with 2 keys. Bring both keys. They both need to be in the car when they reprogram. Okay, we'll do. Never, literally never.
No, that
Man,
that
this
wasn't clear enough
episode,
when you said bring all the keys. That's they didn't understand.
yeah,
I didn't know
this-
what you meant.
and this
Yeah.
episode brought to you by Range Rover.
Fucking pieces of shit.
So, anyways, A2B, you guys just got. Let's get back to Billy over here. You guys just released the. Was it the G? Excuse me here.
G30 Garrett Turbo Kit.
G30 770, the G30 900.
Yep, and we actually have a G35 1050 kit
What
that we
the-
do as well, but I don't list on the website because I want to talk to people before they buy that one. So that they know what
Isn't
they're
that the
getting
one
into.
that people are throwing
you-
on a lot of K swaps right now? That's like the kit, like that's like the 550 K swap turbo, right? Isn't it?
I'll be honest, no, probably not the 1050. The 1050, I've seen it on TTRSs make 1,000 wheel, and it
Oh, so
usually
it's
makes
just too
about
big.
750, 800 ish on a
So-
4-cylinder.
So the G35 is the housing, right? And the 1050 is the size of the impeller.
So the Garrett kit, honestly, I'll be straight up. I have to remember so much stuff. I go look it up on Garrett's website every time. What
Look at this. Get him out of here. Fuck this guy. What is he? He doesn't know
Yeah.
I thought you were a car guy. I
Basically-
thought you were a fucking car guy.
Dude, I'm expected to know so much that I'm got to write down everything. Like I got this written down with people's names on it, for God's sakes. But
Is my name on there?
actually, let's see. No, because I remember you guys' names now. But yeah, basically the 35 is the size of your turbine wheel on the exhaust
Okay.
side, and the
Okay.
dimensions of a 35 to 30 hot side are identical. Just the turbine wheel is bigger on the 35.
Got it. Okay.
And then your 1050 and your 900, 1050, and your 770. That's actually the maximum crank horsepower rating for that turbocharger.
Go the
That's
fuck
how they number
home or
those.
move into your shop.
I don't know who that is, but I'm assuming he knows you.
He knows Bill.
He's got to know. He's got
who
to
is
know
it?
you. Court
Cortelian one.
Chilean one. Yeah, he said, "Go the fuck home, dude,"
Or
or
move in your shop.
Well, I know some people that live in their shop, and they're not pleasant individuals, so I'm not moving in here.
Oh, you're saying you're pleasant. Okay, my bad. All right, that's how to figure.
Depends on who you talk to. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the turbo kit besides that they fuck. Like you
That's
see
the
you guys probably saw a lot
You
of
heard
the
it here
videos that
first,
was
folks.
posted online, and one of them was when I was down in Denver. Like that 1050 car. One, the guy knows how to drive the shit out of it.
Okay.
But two, like that car at altitude, I'd actually have to check with my friend Dave because he was looking at the draggy stuff. I think it was trapping like 100 to 105 miles an hour at altitude in the eighth on the draggy, and that
Oh,
they just go.
Shit.
We have a lot of data coming in the next week or two. I think if 3 900 cars coming out here, 2 770s, and a 1050 car.
I'm fucking buying a German car. Fuck this shit, dude. I'm so
Damn.
Do
fucking
it.
pumped.
Let's go. You
I'm
wanna
so
fuck-
done with
you
this
wanna-
shit.
So
Alex.
Yeah, but I just
Yep.
like dumb JDM shit because that's what I grew up on. You know what
There's
I
a
mean?
bunch
Like,
of
Alex-
them going to be all over the country. I think we have a 900 kit shipping this week to Chicago area. We have another 770 kit going out to AP Tuning, and we have a 900 kit going out to Vegas.
so I have a
Hey,
question.
so-
I have a question for you. Consider this. Say I'm a prospective purchaser, which I'm not saying that I am, but I've been. Anyway,
We all
listen,
know the
you-
rabbit holes you dive down.
I
Don't
know,
make
no,
yourself
but
look
it's
good.
just a
Big
matter
time.
of but I drive a car every day now, right? I drive the same fucking car every fucking day, and I do 60 miles a day, and it's like I don't want it to be slow, but I also want it to be a little bit more comfortable than like a Subaru, which will rattle themselves to death on the freeway if you've never driven one.
Oh, you missed
Oh.
it. Do it again, Billy.
Now my girlfriend asked me what I was doing, so
Um,
I had to send her a
Oh.
picture.
four
Okay.
dudes at the same time.
Yes.
So just it's a
Like
Tuesday.
this. Wait, like this.
Random fucking Tuesday.
What the fuck?
Hey man, sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
Shit fucking happens, bro. Shit fucking
There's
happens.
a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to
Yeah, you know,
unpack.
it is what it is.
Is it there?
Your boy says he's gonna see you on Saturday. By the way,
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
you're-
Taylor.
Where do you guys see?
What-
Where do you guys see?
The
Where you
Twitch
guys
chat.
see?
our
it?
You can go to the
stream.
Twitch
Go to
chat. The
Twitch.
Twitch
Go
chat.
to
I don't
Twitch
have
chat.
I don't have Twitch open.
I tagged
you
you
need
like
to.
80 times saying A2B Motorsports.
Dude,
on-
this thing.
Twitch
Hold on.
twitch.tv/Match Podcast.
Look,
Twitch.tv.
it's gonna say Kyle tagged you in a fuck ton of shit.
He said
Anyway.
he should know who
You know
I
me.
am.
I'm
Who
looking
I
through
am.
this.
Keep scrolling.
You know how much money I
This
spent with you, Bill?
This is the shit that I deal with all day on my phone, and why people get mad I don't answer it is because I get texts. Where is it?
Also,
Hold on,
first
what
of
is
all,
delete?
the fact that you work in an automotive shop and you have no case on your phone, sir, well done.
No, I
Look-
live life dangerously here.
No
I
shit.
appreciate you. Fucking appreciate you.
Holding
Your
fucking
your phone looks pretty
$1,500 in
cool.
your head.
Damn, I can't find it.
Whatever.
So
You just fucking
yeah,
Where's
whatever.
Tom? I haven't seen Tom fucking comment.
Oh, fuck Tom. Anyway,
Whatever.
God damn
So-
it, Tom.
Anymore.
All right, so you're a
Hashtag fuck
prospective
Tom.
customer.
consider
Yeah.
consider me a prospective customer. So I am a father.
First question: is the car stock, or has anyone else worked on it?
We're
He
gonna
hasn't
no, no,
bought
no,
it yet.
no. We're perspective. We're hypothesizing here.
Perspective.
You
Yeah, I
might
gotta
work
ask the
on it.
first question.
Yeah,
Has
so-
anyone else worked on it, or is it stock?
This is gonna be like a 2027 purchase.
No, it will not. This will be like
I,
a mid 2022 purchase. So
okay, I definitely didn't work on it then.
so
I told you
if
guys.
anything has been done to it, it's suspension and wheels when it comes to you. No power.
All right, then I'd work on it. Sure.
Okay. Now, my other question is
Yeah,
if
Tom.
I want power, but I have to daily it. So I'm looking for drivability. I want it to be quicker than stock. In your personal opinion, you deal with these fucking things all the time. I need to be able to put a back seat in it. I need to be able to put a car seat in it. I'm 6 foot. I'm 200 pounds. I want something quick that's still comfy.
Fat.
That's fucking rude, but accurate. And would you? I've heard that RS3s are too small. I've sat in them; they seem a little tight. I like hatches, so I've always kind of leaned on Golf Rs and shit like that. How much power can I put into a car that you would work on without making it suck to drive every day?
What's your budget?
That's the real
how
question.
how deep are your pockets, homie?
Well, I
Call
mean,
it. So let me
if
think.
you're
If I will
talking about an RS3, you're talking about 65 plus grand.
to start right, but that car's too small, so that doesn't even that's like
So
automatically.
call
out
it.
of
Call
pitch.
it. Say if you had.
Say I'm starting with a
let's-
Golf R. Say I'm starting with like a Mark 7 Golf R.
Put
a
it. Put
used
it. Put
one.
it at STI money. Put it at STI money. Put it at 12 grand. You got
I mean,
12 grand.
No. Oh, plus the car. Yeah, okay. Then fuck it.
Yeah,
Let's say I got 12
so
G's
you
to
bought
fuck
the
with.
car. I got
you
12
got-
G's to fuck with. What are you gonna do to a Golf R to make it to what I guess what Alex said?
How fast can I make it without making it suck to drive all the time? Like every day,
500 horsepower.
literally every day.
Honestly, yeah, about that limit. What Kyle said, that 550 limit. Once you build the motors on these cars, they are reliable if properly taken care of.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with
And
that.
like we have a guy, he's driven his built motor car for past I think going on 2 years all over the country. It's got like
Mhm.
80K on it,
Okay.
but it only makes 550 wheel horsepower. So at the
You're
end
gonna
of the
daily
day,
something. You're gonna have a cap. That's just how it goes.
And that's
Yeah.
it. That's
gonna
a built
be
motor.
where you want to stop. Yeah, it's a built motor car.
Because
And
that's the
honestly,
only
I'm telling everyone right now that when they come to me, they go, "Hey, my budget's about 10 grand.
right.
You do fuel system, MPI, a low pressure pump, fuel lines because it's been hit or miss. I used to not recommend them, but I have too many cars now where after selling parts and getting a broader audience, customers are coming back with fuel pressure problems because of check valves and the stock fuel lines sticking, things like that.
Okay.
You do those three things, you're usually at give or take, let's say 3,000.
It's not bad.
You buy
About what I spent with you.
anywhere. I mean, you really can buy any hybrid turbo at this point.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I'm particular about the hybrids because of some experiences in the past. So we generally do the EQTs,
Right.
and
Hey, I know that guy.
you can make 550, and the car just goes at that point.
Okay.
On a stock motor,
It'll just
too.
go.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's the biggest thing is like
Yeah.
I don't want to touch the bottom end, and I want decent fuel economy because I'll be honest with you, dude. I drive my STI in like the lowest power mode, which makes me want to die inside because I spent all this money to make it less slow than it was, and I don't even get to drive it like that, and I still only get 18 miles a gallon.
Tim, are you still
That-
running full 85?
But that's
100%, dude.
Yeah.
I don't give
I
a fuck
drive-
about my gas.
I daily
Yeah.
drive a twin turbo V8 S6 that I think on SRM hybrids, and the thing literally chews through gas. I think it gets
Yeah.
like 8 miles to the gallon at this
Yeah.
point.
I'm
No, I know
pretty
that's
close.
that's the thing. So this is like if there's any universe where I could get a new Golf R for
One of the
within-
major problems that I'm hoping might be fixed eventually is everyone wants to do exactly what you just described, pretty much on the same budget. They
right.
come 10, 12K gets you usually parts and labor for hybrid turbo, tuning, like we generally do a whole unit and motorsport suite. That's what we do in house here. Gets you flex fuel tuning with UM, all the custom stuff, gets you the whole fuel system, turbocharger, and then you got to remember supporting mods. So
Yeah.
intercooler
Right.
at that level, honestly, we're fighting over 5-10 horsepower depending on brand. So
Whatever
it's really
floats your boat.
whichever one floats your boat. We recommend either Unitronic, the IE one, the top tier ones. You need an intake, need a downpipe.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, though, what I've started to see is you run that hybrid now for 2 years. You now come to me, you go, hey, I want to build the motor and go faster and go
Right.
bigger. The hybrid turbos are great for what you're doing.
Right.
But long term, I'm starting to see cars, and this isn't something that's talked about online because I don't know if it's maybe the volume of cars that we see that we built 2-3 years ago that are stock motor on hybrids that are now going bigger.
Right.
People don't
Or
use
it's just
hybrid
something
turbos
no
that
one's
long.
no one's maybe associating it, or the car's changed hands 2-3 times.
Right.
We're seeing in our existing customers. I mean, I was talking to Jeff at United Motorsport about it. We had 4 cars recently that were among a bunch of different tuners, not specific to one, where we moved them from a hybrid turbo to a Garrett series turbo or like a used zone rotor kit, didn't matter. That car within a week had a cracked engine block.
No
on the
shit.
cylinders.
What?
Yep. And we're talking cars that were either built motor, stock motor, where we would then build the motor, get all the machine work done, the whole 9 yards. And the only thing that was between the two was the fact that they both are hybrid turboed cars. And the only thing I can think of, and I'm sure people disagree or agree with me on this, is the heat generated by the hybrid turbos is just too much.
And
It's to the point
yeah,
where
you're-
everything stands up, but no one's monitoring EGT data on
Well, and
any
you're
of the hybrid.
and you're fucking with the
Even on the
metallurgy of
full
the
frame
block.
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
it's the heat cycle of the metal in the block. That's like
That's
that's
the
the-
biggest credit I got to give to APRs. If you ever look at any of their old data, like I don't care what I get yelled at for saying this, but the stage 3 kit doesn't work. Giant flop.
Right.
But if you look at all the data that they did behind actually developing it, they put EGT probes in the exhaust stuff.
yeah.
They monitored EGTs. There's guys that, unless they're moving the cars to Cyvex, they're not looking at EGT data. Like the RS3 guys, they're doing hybrids. We did an SRM hybrid on an RS3 from Minnesota. Unitronic had us put a EGT probe in it to monitor exhaust gas temp. No one's doing that on the 4-cylinder cars. And I don't know if it's just because no one wants to, budgets, things like that. Like I have guys where I go, hey, I want to put an EGT probe in like your collector essentially. And they go, no, I don't want to do it. I go,
shit.
you're not listening. I'm going to do it. And they're like, I don't want you to do it. It looks ugly. I'm like,
How fucking often is your
Okay.
engine bay open? And second of all, like all modern engine bays are fucking ugly anyway. So shut up.
Yeah.
that's one of the things we have coming is I'm hoping by the new year we'll have a lot of data from exhaust gas temp to all sorts of like speed sensor data of what all of the Garrett turbos are doing.
I'm
Because
just
right
gonna-
now we
yeah.
just tune off of speed sensor.
Right.
actually has a great feature where on a Golf RS3 you can actually run speed sensor data through the ECM. Jeff has all that sorted out. So in the data logger itself, we can see what the RPM of the turbo is,
Oh,
and
no
Jeff can
shit.
stop it at a certain speed, or for us with the external boost controller, we model the boost curve to at max turbine speed.
Oh, fucking shit.
That's what happens when you have
Is that-
sensors on literally
That's
fucking
advantage
everything.
of all the fucking sensors we put in these guys.
Well, that's I mean, but it's like it's a pain in the ass. Like, and this is kind of like and this is a super tangent, but like you look at guys like Bisimoto, right? And that dude's been like trying to put CAN bus into everything for like the last 10 years.
It's beautiful. CAN
'Cause,
bus
like-
is awesome.
Because he did that twin turbo 964 like 6 or 7 years ago, and he was like, "Oh, everything runs through CAN bus." It's a 964.
Yeah.
Right? It's an air cooled 964 twin turbo car. He walked away. And he fucking he CAN bust everything. And he was like, I can see every single thing going on with this car from front to back. I know everything that's happening. And that car still runs today, and it's still a monster today. The baby blue one. I'm sure you've seen it with the
Dude,
turbos
oh,
hanging
yeah.
out of the ass. The turbos
Flame.
hanging out of the ass. Yeah.
Yes.
Time
I
out.
thought that was a 993. My bad.
It might
So
be an
one of the
993.
things you brought up CAN bus, one of the things that actually, in my opinion, sets our kit of what we do specifically apart from competitor kits, we'll leave it at that, is this guy right here. The boost controller we use, the Cortex, actually they sell a CAN
That's
bus
such a
interface.
dick bag move name for a fucking boost controller, by the
Yeah,
way.
the
Why is it
Cortex.
called the Cortex? Because it's big
Yep.
brain, baby. Anyway.
I can't argue with that either. Like you look at any of the other boost controllers, because we've played with the Greddy
That's a lot of
ones, we've
wires.
played
That's a
with the
lot of
Turbo
wires.
Smart.
That's not.
This is 2, 4, 6 wires. Power ground, can high, can low, tacho, and speed.
My
So
EBC,
this
my
allows-
EBCS has 4 wires in it for the record.
Well, Here's the wiring harness for it.
yeah, mine doesn't have that. Mine was
That's
boop.
great.
And the instructions are actually really easy. So you take that, you wire it into your
He said
cortex,
the
your brain.
instructions are easy, not
Yeah.
The
the
instructions are easy.
instructions.
Because he's done
So-
it a million times.
They're
That
legible.
that whole assembly now, once it's wired in correctly, it can read now RPM and speed, vehicle speed and engine speed. And what that lets you do with this controller compared to the others, as far as I know, unless they've changed it in the past 2 years, you can now do boost by gear
I was just gonna ask
natively
about
in this
that.
controller.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
can
fucking
dope.
amazing.
I can actually have the car now know what gear it's in. So the
What?
controller knows what gear it's in. So each gear now has its own boost map that we tune ourselves here.
So if anybody,
And
if
we can do
anybody
launch
listening,
control stuff, things like that.
so
Like, did you develop that product? Like, that's
No,
your
this is from Shrick. I can't pronounce the guy's name.
it's
right?
it's SHCRRICK or some
Yeah,
shit. Yeah.
they came out with this boost controller, and this controller is so powerful and good. It actually has 2 inputs and outputs in it. I can have this controller on a Golf, really any car it's on at all, and this controller will do all of your boost control. I can stage in fuel pumps with it. I can stage in water meth. I can do stage nitrous.
That's so
We can do
fucking
our own
tight.
launch control stuff. You guys seen the white Golf R? Kerry Slim's car.
Mhm.
He's always drag racing it, manual car.
Is it on
we
Instagram? What's
have-
the Instagram handle? I can look it up, bring it up.
Let me see.
So
I have to
while
look
he
up
figures that
Gary's.
out, like the whole thing with boost by gear. So Have you guys all heard of Calvo Motorsports? And do you know who they are and what they do?
Heard of
Yeah.
it, never really researched
So
it. though.
Calvo Motorsports are the guys that build 2,500 to 3,000 horsepower Vipers.
Jeez.
Oh,
And anybody who has ever driven a Calvo Motorsports Vipers will tell you that they just fucking hook and they go straight. It's like the most drama-free fucking vehicle on the planet with 3,000 horsepower. And the reason why is Calvo took a fuckload of time and figured out boost curves on boost by gear. So it pulls like a fucking freight train because you get to fourth gear and you're running twice as much boost as you were running at first. So it'll let it hook, it'll let it lean up, and as you start to pull, because they sequential a lot of their
It
cars,
just
but
keeps
even
going and keeps
yeah,
going.
it just
I
keeps
mean, but
building boost.
that makes complete sense, though. I mean,
so the white car we just did in Denver, for instance, that car, first gear, 15 pounds of boost. It launches at 16 at 6,200 or no, 5,800 RPM, goes from 16 pounds to 20, tapers up to 24, and then comes back down for the gear shift.
Okay.
Then comes back in and runs that second gear out to about 28-ish to not break traction on the street. And then from 28, the rest is just maxed out, 35 to 37 all the way.
Alex,
leaving?
I'm assuming this is the Instagram MK7.5R_KS.
Nope, that's
MK
Carrie's Instagram.
7.5.
So if you actually go down to I
Oh, I
think it's
found it, I
this
found
video
it.
here,
I found it. Yeah.
Carrie has a
Okay,
video of
okay.
me demonstrating
He's private.
where
Oh, he followed us, but I
On-
can follow back.
yeah, on the launch control stuff with the Cortex, we have it set up where car knows it's in first gear, it knows it's going 0 miles an hour, and I think it's set up to under 25 miles an hour. Carrie has a clutch slipper in the car because
Oh,
he's a
shit.
manual. So when
Oh, so he has
launches
the little
car,
weight
the
joints
car-
on it? Yeah.
the car knows that it's in launch. It ends up. What's it say?
What are you
So-
doing to yourself?
No, that Ova just walked to show me a message we have in one of our chats that we have, and sorry, I gotta get back to where I was. With the clutch slipper, Carrie can adjust the slip now. So when he's at the line and launches it, he now can take away the human aspect of him having to manually slip the clutch every single time, sets the slipper after getting a couple launches in to where it needs to be at. And the Cortex, knowing 0 vehicle speed, knowing it's above, I don't know, 5,000 RPM, because now it knows it's in launch control mode,
Mhm.
will now, when he releases the clutch, it will activate the slipper.
So
But
when you
when he's
say
daily
slipper, it's
driving
like you're talking about like a hydraulic solenoid, right?
Look up Magnus launch control device, because that's what
Okay.
it is.
wait,
Okay.
wait, I want to see his Instagram real quick. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I just brought it up. I'm trying to see. Well, I don't know what video he has. Oh, he's wiring up the Cortex to activate the Magnus clutch slipper when launching the car.
Yep.
That's
And you
fucking...
can watch it. When the car's in launch control, the clutch pedal comes up slower.
Oh,
But
look at that
if
shit.
you were to
Oh,
daily drive
shit.
it, then it won't. And the Cortex controls all of that.
And it's all programming at that point.
Then shameless plug, we include all of the tuning of this free with the purchase of our turbo kit. So you spend $5,800 on the kit, which is a complete thing from downpipe to intake, and you get all of our controller tuning with it.
So real talk, like let's just have you guys started fucking with Mark 8s yet? At all?
Actually, we have a GTI, we have a Mark 8 GTI, and we have an
Holy
S3 and a
shit,
Golf
that thing
R.
is fucking violent.
Yeah, it seems pretty savage.
Watch that.
Yeah, he's going. Okay. So
Wow.
let's
I'm
just
sorry.
let,
I'm sorry. What about the Mark 8s again?
Yeah, so wait,
So
hold up. So
Mark
let's
8,
just,
from just looking at it, I can tell you guys, I'll probably get yelled at by the guys for sharing the info, but it looks like a lot of hardware is going to swap over.
sweet.
It's just going to straight up come down to two things: how long it takes to get the ECM unlocked and tuned,
Yep.
and if the ECM has MPI native to it. If the tuners go in
Oh.
and it does not have MPI standard in the ECM, just throw the whole car out. It'll be like having a Mark 5.6. It's not even going to be worth having.
Which
Well, you
it
did- you
should
found
be
it, like-
standard, right?
The new
Just like the
BRZs
Mark
that way. Like the new BRZ, all the old modifications from the old first version of the BRZ are fitting on the second gen. TJ Hunt just put almost the identical exhaust. We put the identical headers on his current new BRZ than he had on his old one.
Yeah, it's because Subaru's not going to develop a whole new fucking engine. 'cause
I
they're
think the
Right.
coolest thing, and Kyle will know, any of you guys that follow the Mark 7 stuff will know it's a major problem, and it's probably the biggest, coolest thing, in my opinion, because I like the little shit and technology. There's actually a crankcase pressure sensor now on the Mark 8. And it's on the PCV plate on the cylinder head. So the car can actually monitor crankcase pressure, which is a
That's
major
fucking
issue
awesome.
on the Mark 7s.
Oh,
That's
shit.
huge. Yeah.
Yep.
Big time.
So real talk, it's like don't buy anything
No,
until they
probably
figure
not.
out what the fuck's going on.
We
'Cause
have a
what-
GTI that we're gonna have our. So basically, what we're doing here is I'm trying to. We've had problems.
I want to send it to
in
New
any
York.
other
Send
shop,
it to him.
but everyone that we've been doing and working with, we're trying to kind of build our brand around our own lineup of parts now.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's the right way to do it.
I don't want to personally. If we didn't have to build a single car, I'd be thrilled about that. I would just love to make parts and ship them out everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's not realistic. So we're gonna have our own line of downpipes, everything like that. Like the Mark 8 GTI we have will be fitted with our downpipe. It'll run our cooler, our 1,850 horsepower intercoolers. We have small crash bars that we're developing. I just actually finished up modeling and making the flange before I came on here to send out to get cut. And it's just like I said, unless the car is MPI native to it, it's just going to be a big waste of time. They'll be like
Yeah.
Mark 5s and 6s again.
So I mean,
know
like,
you
unless you wanted
have-
to go full standalone, right? Which then
Yeah.
you're gonna run into. So here's my question: like, and
If
this
you want
is
to do
like-
full standalone Mark 5, 6 stuff, you got to go hit up David EQT. That's the guy to talk to for that.
Yeah,
Big
I know.
time.
Trust me, I know. But it's like first of all, like Cybex is not cheap. Second of all, I don't know. Like I'm really big on like having the interior feel as stock and plush as possible. I don't know how that works when you start fucking with running multiple computers and shit. That just seems like a fucking rabbit hole that I'm
No,
not.
look at the RS3s. iRoz has it set up with the RS3s where you run a plug and play Cybex. He made his own bracket and everything to mount it all in the engine bay by the battery compartment where the stock
Good.
ECM would mount, and it all drives like factory.
It just
If
uses
you-
the same wire harness and everything. They
Literally,
just, it's a plug
you
and play.
literally plug your engine harness into it, and you plug your body
That's
harness
so.
in.
Can I tell you why this is super funny to me? This is why this is super funny to me because German cars are going from you can use the factory ECU to do everything to you run a secondary ECU to run your engine management, which is exactly what Japanese cars did in the 90s. So if you go and you look at like old AEM systems with the little fucking 5-button data pads and the shit that mounted to your that's what they had to do because the bullshit OBD1 factory, computers, you couldn't do anything with them. Right. So you had to run a standalone fuel management, spark
Yep.
management, all that kind of shit.
Welcome
Obviously,
to my life.
there's a lot more going. Yeah. Okay, we get it, dude. You drive a GTR. All right. You're fucking cool. Whatever.
So basically,
Sorry.
what you're saying is you need to buy a 3-year-old S4 or RS3.
No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait. I'm
It-
gonna give it what do you think? A year probably before they figure out.
No, the way
No.
current things are going, probably
Wait.
less than that. Unless you're Cobb, then might take 5 years because they're still trying to do flex fuel. So
On your guys'
Yeah,
stuff.
well, I can't even order anything from Cobb in California, so
See, that's what's so funny to me. This is how you know that like Subarus are
can't.
Cobb's bread and butter because they've been
That
running.
sucks.
There's like full flex fuel setups for Subarus for like the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and look, I'm very everyone has their fanboys of what they run and tune and what works. And Jeff's a good friend of mine, so I 99% of the time will always recommend UM.
Yeah.
But for the community and industry, it's just I don't understand why Cobb at this point doesn't have flex.
For you
And
guys, for
maybe
the
it's
German shit,
because maybe it's because you can map switch in a couple seconds. You know what I mean? But there's guys where, like, I know the EQT guys and everyone, they tell you specific, and I tell people all the time, take the fucking access port and put it in your glove box. You don't drive a
100%.
Subaru.
Goddamn
Put it
straight.
in your glove box and don't look at it anymore. And
I just want to point out Kyle
then
had
you
his
got to
access
take it
point later.
out. Then you have to change. Then you got to change your map when you get to the gas station. Things like that.
Well, it's so funny because it's like, and obviously, like Cobb doesn't work on these cars, but you look at like, and I talked about this I think on the last episode. You guys are like Steve Dinan, right? Which obviously Steve Dinan is like been around forever, right? But he's like, oh, I'll take 2 fucking years, and I'll develop a tuning platform for a car that's probably a bit more complicated in the F90 chassis, right? So you're looking at M5s and M6, M8s now, M8
Yeah.
comps and all that shit, right? And he's like, yeah, you can put anything from pump gas to fucking 100 octane in the car and mix the tank, and it'll figure itself out because it's tracking off the knock sensor, right? It's gonna give itself a little bit more power. It's gonna read the knock over the next 15 miles, and then once it kind of figures that out, it'll figure out how to trail its own fuel map, and you can just run it till the tank's empty. And then when you fill it back up, it'll figure itself back up because it's monitoring the fuel level. So when the fuel level ticks up, it figures it needs to rerun the fucking all the monitors, figure out what its octane curve is, and it'll figure itself out.
See, I love talking to Japanese guys because they all like you come from RSX, Subaru, things like that, where the ECM is essentially dumb.
Yeah,
And
Oh, yeah.
the German ECM can do
so much
pretty
shit.
much anything. Like
So much shit.
I get guys all the time, and I know certain friends of mine are gonna probably yell at me for this later, but
Oh shit.
I have plenty of cars here, and they are told they need to go standalone. And we're running United Motorsport software on all of them, and they do not have a single issue doing anything that a standalone ECM can do. The only thing I can't do is I can't put 27 extra sensors all over the car
Yeah.
and input them into the ECM.
You'll see a lot of what Japanese engines have going for them, and I'm not talking about Subaru engines because Subarus are great because of the drivetrain, right? An STI's drivetrain is 1,000 horsepower drivetrain from the factory. Period.
Yep.
The engine's a piece of shit. Everything else is great.
So you have the opposite on his GTR. It's got a 400 horsepower drivetrain with a 1,000 horsepower engine.
Well, he's got an R33. He's got a real
okay.
Skyline.
He's got a real
GTR.
GTR.
Yeah, he doesn't have an R35.
Yeah, right hand drive.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a bragger.
But totally agree.
Coming from you of all people.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is like, right, but what I'm saying is that
R35 is a 400 horsepower drivetrain.
right. So like a Subaru is great
Yeah,
because
go
it's
for
like I have to deal with a bunch of engine shit, but it's like I can just, if I'm willing to get over that, I can just fucking keep throwing power at it, and at some point it'll need a clutch, you know? And like whatever. And that's it. I don't have to worry about anything else. I mean, there's guys running 800 horsepower on factory axles. The car just kind of takes it, right? But when you get to older Japanese shit, and when I say older Japanese shit, I'm talking 1Js, 2Js, and then all the way up to like the newer VR30s and like the Infinity Red Sports and all that kinds of shit.
Oh, the fart cannons?
The fart cannon, they sound horrible. Like they're fucking gross. But dude, you can go get a VQ out of a junkyard and it'll be $300 and it sounds like shit, but you can strap a turbo to it and it'll make 500 horsepower. Like they're stout. They're fucking stout engines, but they're just not smart. You have to do a lot to them, to your point, electronically with tuning to get them to like be cool. And yeah, you can get them to run flex fuel. Like that's the one thing about having a Subaru is that we have a full flex fuel option, right? I can mix tank with 85 and 91 or 93 and it'll fucking figure itself off with cop software. But other than that, it's kind of fucking dumb. So you'll see dudes when they're building drift cars these days, if they're making 600 horsepower 2J S14s, they're all running standalone. They're running Haltech. They're running Haltech or AM Infinity, or they're running all this other shit because while the engine can take it, it doesn't know what it's doing. Right? It doesn't know how to compensate for different fuel mixes. It doesn't know how to understand what's happening to it because the factory ECU is it's meant to run stock and that's it. You can't flash it. You can't. But dude, look at Honda. Look at Honda. You have to send me your ECU so that I can sit here and dick with it so you can squeeze another 100 horsepower out of your car. Otherwise, it'll grenade itself because it's going to lean itself out. It doesn't know to send enough fuel to this, right? This is on K series. That engine is not that old.
Yep.
Right?
But, okay, I have a so I mean, and
See,
a
it's
quick
like
question.
every
Oh.
fast Honda I know out here, they all run standalone. Every single one of them.
Because the engine's great and you can throw a bunch of power at it, but it will destroy itself if it doesn't know what to do. And you can't tell the factory ECU to tell it what to do.
Realistically, think about the German platform of where we're at with the Volkswagen Audis is
Mhm.
in the, let's keep it at the MQB Mark 7 stuff. You can probably count the amount of people in the community with standalone on the car
Mhm.
with one, maybe two hands.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And if you
There's
actually
no reason
look at
for
the
it.
giant amount of people that have these cars, there's just no reason for it at this point. I mean, no one's pushing the car far enough. Like,
Unless you're IROS.
literally.
Yeah.
But look at what Hank's doing. Hank stopped the 4-cylinder stuff back then. Like, Hank still
Yeah.
holds the record 5 years later
Yeah.
for a 9.5, and I know we're all still chasing it. Hell, we have a car we're building to chase it, and
I mean, dude has a 1200
Everyone
horsepower
wants it.
RS3 that still has air conditioning. Like, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
those cars are fast.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you look at those cars; those need standalone. Like, you hit that 1,000+ horsepower.
But you're in 4
mark, and you
digits. It's
need
like,
it.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
you need to read EMAP and for what that is.
you're
EMAP's
fucking-
exhaust
yeah.
back pressure.
but it's like,
You
listen,
need to
if-
read crankcase pressure. You need to read all your EGTs.
but you're full
everything
commit,
like
dude.
that.
If you're 4 digits,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't give a fuck what you're building. I don't give a what fucking car it is. If you're 4 digits, you're full commit. Money is no object. It doesn't
100%.
fucking
Yeah.
matter anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, oh,
we
I
don't
need-
have on the 4-cylinders. I mean, look at it. We're dropping brushless fuel pumps in the cars, and they're good still. I have the TTRS RS3 guys that come here, and we're doing surge tanks in them. Like, they're going out of style. Just we're doing triple 450 surge tank pump kits
So I mean,
to power these cars.
Do you
Oh,
fuck
shit.
with the 3-liter turbo? On the
God damn it,
V9
Timmy, shut the
F4?
fuck up, dude.
Nobody else.
He's
Nobody
gonna ask.
else.
No,
I'm
honestly,
like,
I've
look,
had
see, even him.
there's some
Nobody
stuff
fucks with it.
that there's some no. I can't say nobody fucks with it. There's some stuff coming out of United
034.
Motorsport. Actually, believe it or not, that
I'm
I
on
don't
it.
know.
I've got it.
I don't
It's
know
the
if
best
I'm
tune I've
allowed
ever
to
had.
talk about. So you do have it
I have
So-
the Stage 185 tune on my S4.
from UM.
No, I'm sorry. I
From
thought you said
034.
034.
No, he said 034. United Motorsport has E9, S4, 3-liter turbo stuff, or what is it? Is it 2.9 or 3-liter?
It's a 3-liter. The RS5 is the 2.9
That
twin
was a
turbo.
2.9. So Jeff has his own personal car, and I want to say it makes 550 torque, 500 horsepower. Those numbers kind of stick out. I'd have to look at our techs, but he's got some cool stuff coming from some different guys. I know he's testing bigger turbos, things like that.
I just there's nobody on the entire market for the B9 S4 that does a flex fuel kit. It's either
No.
91, 93 or fully 85.
Well, the biggest thing is if you look at the Mark 7s, Flex is native to the ECM. So all the tuner has to do is enable it, but it doesn't do anything useful. Like United Motorsport, Integrated Engineering, all the guys that have it, they actually have software rewritten in the ECM and code developed to change timing, boost, and things like that.
Damn.
So if that ECM doesn't have it native, then it's hard to add.
I see.
So you roll back to standalone territory.
Yeah, back
Right.
to standalone.
So like, how
Well,
bad do you want it to be?
It's like
I'm fine
the
where
four-
I am.
Yeah,
The
Tim,
4
You
liters.
don't need no more. You
I'm
don't need
faster
no
than
more.
everybody else has is. I'm fine.
no a good example would be the 4-liter cars and the Daza cars. The stuff that DS1 Dyno Spectrum's doing with those cars, they use their dongle to add flex fuel. So you pin the flex sensor to the OBD port, and the dongle stays plugged in, and that now through CAN bus allows the ECM to now read flex fuel.
That's the most ridiculous fucking thing.
Through Canvas.
But the stuff's awesome. The DS1 stuff for those cars pretty much makes it a standalone ECM at that
This
point.
mother
Like, you
said
can-
dongle
you
like
can
we're
add
trying to hook up an
sensors,
iPhone
everything.
to a printer. You know what I'm saying? It's like no, but it makes your shit run corn, and it'll figure it
Yeah.
out. See,
Fix
that's
it
what
fast.
that's what. So this is like the older I get, because I'm 34, I have a kid. My car's stiff. It rattles because it's stiff. Because when spoiler alert, when you make cars stiff, they rattle. They don't like that shit, right? I just want something quick enough to fuck with V8s on the street, and that's comfy or
Oh.
whatever.
Kyle.
But when I start looking into
Kyle, what?
how much shit you can do with German cars, like even if you go to BMWs, right? So you look at the new M340 I's, the all-wheel drive ones, which essentially just have it's a 4-door fucking Supra with all-wheel drive, right? It's really
Pretty
what it is. But there's dudes getting like 700-800 horsepower out of those fucking things,
Yeah.
and it's all like fucking it still runs like a factory car. Granted, you're 70 G's deep before you even start fucking with it, which is real deep pockets, and they're ugly, and they don't sound great. So there's a
Yeah,
lot.
but neither does Kyle's car, and he's like half
That's
the
true. It
cost.
doesn't. Okay, here's the thing. I want
Okay.
Billy's opinion on this. Can we objectively agree
My
that
Subaru sounds better than your GTI.
that
Don't even
GTIs
fucking
sound
try.
bad? Can we just? Are you?
I don't want to get into it, but all of them
Yeah.
sound bad.
Okay,
They
All
sound
of them.
terrible. I will be the first one and the last one to prove shit.
I have a car
What?
here that sounds, in my opinion, is probably the best sounding Golf R
How much
out
was the
there. But
exhaust?
it is
How much was?
it is still too freaking loud to drive. It
You're
sounds
full
great.
of shit.
Yeah,
It's
you've never seen
actually
my
it's
car,
got an
but-
old IROS 780 turbo kit on it, and it's got a full 3.5-inch custom exhaust we did with one MagnaFlow muffler. But it's loud as hell. You
That's,
it
can't
sounds
hear
that's
nice.
exact.
Yeah, but it sounds
well,
good.
I'm running the EQT Vortex XL with basically a 3-inch back with MagnaFlow, and it sounds like dog shit.
Sounds so
Look, if
bad.
anyone wants a
To
good,
me-
if you want a good sounding
me,
car, you got to go
like,
buy a V8.
100%.
You have to go buy a V8.
A V8 or more,
I would,
right?
I would object, and I'm only gonna say this because I've had multiple co-signers on this. My Subaru sounds better than Chris's V8 Camaro used to.
See,
And I will fucking
I'd
die
love
on
to
that
agree with
hill.
you, but I hear
I know-
Subarus and I start having PTSD. I start shaking. I'm like, oh god.
So for the record, my Subaru is, and it's really fucking ignorant, but it's essentially straight piped with one resonator in it. So on cold start, it fucking chops like a motherfucker.
So that's how my
We'd be-
machine was.
we would be
Nothing
good
but
friends in real life.
motherfucker.
I mean, this is
We would
real
be
life.
good
It's
friends
just
in
through
real
the
life.
internet. No, my neighbor's like, so like I'm cool with my neighbor, right? He'd be like, hey, you trying to have a beer tonight? Whatever. Hit me up when you get home, like word. And I'll like pull up in the driveway. I'm like, oh, I'm home. He goes, bitch, I heard you 5 minutes ago. I know. Like,
Where I live, my lake house, our parking area is high up, and I back my Audi in there. So when I started in the morning, mine's a turbo V8, straight piped out the back, 3-inch straight pipe all the way out from the turbo's back,
so funny.
and I'll fire that thing up, and the people across the lake will call the cops at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, because it just echoes right across the
Yep.
lake over all the houses,
Yeah,
and it wakes everybody up.
So
Yeah.
your boy
All
with
I
the
did was
white
start
Golf
my
R
car.
made a really good
Yep.
point. He made a really good point. VR6 engines.
Beautiful.
I hate them.
Beautiful.
I fucking love them.
I take my best friends have some of the fastest VR6 cars in the world, and I tell them all the time that I'll gladly take their blown up engines and use them as anchors for one of our boats. That's about how good those engines are.
Well,
They're
it's
not
been a great
good.
episode,
They
guys.
don't-
We appreciate your time. And,
Hey, let's be real.
Wrap this up. Wrap
They
this
don't-
up.
Performance wise, the VR6 like just sucks. Sound wise, they're fucking
Amazing.
amazing. I
Yeah.
love it. They don't breathe well. Like, it's a terrible design overall.
So what here's the only thing that I would say is that, and I'm like the one dude, I'm probably the only dude here, except maybe Mike,
To melt them down.
where no, I have like I like really fast shit, but I also have a real respect for like slower balanced shit. Especially when you're talking about driving on the street, right? Like a stock Ford Fiesta ST is fucking hilarious to drive because you basically get to put your pedal to the floor everywhere, all the time, constantly.
Your
Never
foot.
have to
You
stop.
ever driven a smart car with the ABS fuse plug?
Oh,
That
dude,
thing
it's
is
so
fun as hell.
fucking fun. Yes,
That thing is fun as hell.
But
Yes.
it's slow as shit, but it's just fun. It's like a go kart, right? So when
You
you
just
think
drive
when
the
I think
fuck
of
out of it.
VR6s, I
Flip
think
it
of,
over, you and your friends flip it back.
yeah, it's great. But I think of like
Or just you.
Mark IV R32s with an exhaust. And I know HPS back in the day was
Melt them
making like
down.
500 horsepower fucking, whatever. But
Do
like
burn it
a
outside.
VR6 and a Mark IV GTI with like a nice exhaust on it and like a decent set of coilovers or whatever. And yeah, it's fucking slow, but it's like it's just got like a thing about it, right? It's got like a vibe when you drive it, and you're not winning any races, but it's like a cool way to cruise around. Or it's like like an R56 Mini Cooper S with an intake and exhaust on it, right? It's not fast, but it's fun and that kind of shit. And so like I just have an appreciation for that kind of car as well because it's a little tamer. It's, if you're just trying to chill and like have fun in a car, you can find a windy road and still have a good time and something like that. It's never going to be as like, it's not as impressive as a car with 900 horsepower. But it's like, they have their own place in the world. And so
My
like,
problem with the VR6s is just straight up that look at dollar per horsepower
oh, for sure.
to
100%.
make
You're
your
talking
VR6.
to a guy who owns
Yeah.
a Subaru, dude.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
you get it. You can't take a VR6 and you're gonna put 10, 20 grand in it and still
Yes.
not be as fast as the guy with the 5-cylinder.
Yeah,
or the
but you know what?
4-cylinder.
You know what though? The fucking Corrado looks way cooler.
You don't. I can't agree. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
If
Agree with that.
if somebody, and this is where they make fun of me because I go down a rabbit hole, but like all I'm saying is if you took like a whole MQB power plant and
Here
like
we
dropped
go.
it in a Corrado, tell me that wouldn't be the perfect car.
All right, so here you got. Open up your Instagram, and I
I'm
want
already
you to
there.
follow. All right, so follow Dick Weeks. DICK
Fucking Christ.
WEEKES. It's one of my close friends, Richie. He has a Corrado. I think it runs 8.9s.
Holy goddamn shit. Look at this fucking thing.
Custom front end, VR6, the whole 9 yards. That's right up your alley.
Look at this ridiculous son of a bitch. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
You'll
What
love
the
that car.
fuck?
Holy
here.
shit.
There's a bunch of pictures of his family. Oh, here we go.
Shit.
892
At 167?
front wheel drive.
Yep, front wheel drive, sport front wheel drive car.
Fucking
What
savage.
the fuck?
That's an EG hatch too, by the way, that he's lined up against, which is like the fucking giant killer of
So
all time.
if you
right?
look up, we have a lot of those
Look at
guys
that
out. I'd say probably a lot of the drag race guys for those cars are all out here. All the
I would
sport
for
front
sure.
wheel drive
You
cars.
guys do different shit on the East Coast. Yo, that thing's fucking gangster. I love that.
Damn.
There's something so, and this is just OG Honda kidding me. There's something so sick about something with fat meats on the front, skinnies on the back. I don't know why that
Yeah.
like appeals to me.
Richie built that whole car in his garage. FFE Racing did all like a lot of the machine work for like the engine, things like that. And it's pretty much the guy to go to for sport.
But you
front-wheel
guys
drive,
can't hear this,
anything.
but I can hear this, and holy shit!
Oh yeah, the hood, teardropped hood dump, everything.
There's fourth gear. Run it back. Give me the juice. Put me in, coach. Oh,
Those things are
he's
sick.
their drivability tuning right there.
That's awesome.
All right, well,
See, I told you that. I told you that'd be right up your alley.
That shit's fucking sick. I don't give a fuck. I
DR6
don't-
Turbo Corrado.
Yeah, I'm so with it. I don't like, oh, it's stupid and it doesn't work and there's way easier ways to do it. Yeah, but do they sound like this? Do they sound like Chewbacca's getting strangled? No, they don't. That's all I'm saying. But I'm like the ignorant one, right? Like my heart just like has always gone to just like stupid shit because it's different, right? Like there's a real strong argument for the stuff that you guys do with MQBs because it fucking works and it's consistent and it's
Yes.
predictable.
I
right?
tell everybody that we will give you the cookie cutter to make power. It'll work probably roughly 95% of the time.
Which is
And if
more
it
than you can
doesn't,
get out of
it's
anything else.
something crazy.
Yeah.
Like I tell everyone this. We have, let's see, recently we've probably had about 5 to 10 problem cars that just they either break all the time, things like that. But year to date, and the service writer guys will understand this. We've had about, hold on, my mouse work. Fucking screen's all
He's
fucked
gonna
up.
pull up data.
I know. We're getting fucking I get
We've
spreadsheets. I love
had,
I'm
spreadsheets.
not a
no.
service rider anymore.
As of today.
Hey, raise
I'll
your
be
hand if
fired.
you've been fired by the Nilo company.
Sheesh. You guys are popular here. So in the past year, we have done 1,150 work orders here.
Wow.
And you have 5 to 10
And-
problem
and
children.
that's-
5 to 10 recently that have been a problem.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's an
that's a-
average of a 7.5% failure rate. No,
Yeah.
less than that.
Yeah,
No,
no,
it's
less
less
than
no,
that.
it's less
That's
than that.
a-
Less than
That's-
that.
yeah.
That's
It's
a
like-
custom
That's like a
shop, too.
3.5% failure rate.
Yeah.
It's like the COVID death rate at this point.
point zero
We are
zero
not
zero.
fucking going there. Okay, we are not gonna fucking go there. The only political comment that I've ever made on this entire podcast is that QAnon folks are nuts, and I left it at that. And we moved on with our lives. So we're just, if you want
See,
political
my
leaning
friend group
automotive
is
content,
so spread that it gets crazy when we're all put in a room because
Yeah.
everyone has a different
no,
opinion.
so are mine. But it's like, listen,
we're probably all similar.
I've listened to the Smoking Tire for a long time, and Matt Fair is great, but he's very left, and sometimes it's like
That guy's a
obnoxiously.
dick.
He is a dick. No, he's a huge prick, but
Yeah.
he's also really funny, and he has a lot of like intelligent things to say when it comes to cars. But he is very entitled, and he thinks he
So
owns
you
it,
can
but
read the brochure.
no, he just, dude, he's been around. He's been around cars forever, but like he also forgets that his dad like ran Ralph Lauren. And like he says that he understands that level of privilege, and then sometimes says some shit, and it's like he's like, "Oh, just buy the Porsche," and it's like, "Bitch, the fuck?"
Afford the fucking
Yeah.
Porsche, bitch.
Right. So,
Right.
but my point is that he's very left leaning, right? Which is fine. You believe whatever the fuck you believe. I don't really give a shit. But at the same time, it's like when we started this podcast with the objective of like regular fucky dude car talk, right? And when regular dudes are talking about cars, politics don't come up. We're talking about cars.
No, the only thing that should come up in cars and politics is how
Smog
fucking
laws.
funny when you go to gas pumps, the Joe Biden stickers that just say
Those
"I do
are
good."
objectively funny.
Those are
objectively
hysterical. I don't
funny.
care what side of the
No,
aisle.
that's
Oh,
funny.
God.
Like that's fucking funny.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Because
those are
regardless if it was Joe Biden or not, it would be whatever president's in
President, yeah.
office. Those
No,
It
those would
doesn't
be those
matter.
stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
the first thing that I think of is like the old PBS fucking shit. I made this. Like that's the first fucking thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I went to a gas station the other day, and you could see that somebody who works there had peeled like 1 million of those stickers off the pumps. Like you just see it was just like a rough approximation
But
of a
when
dude
you're
doing
in
this.
Texas, I mean,
Shit.
Yeah.
When you're in Texas, they're overlapping on the gas pump.
Oh no, there was no.
Oh,
That
big
was
time.
the pump I was at. Had I counted 14 of them ripped off on that one pump. Like somebody saw that
Really?
somebody else had pulled it off, so they put another one on. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do it again."
not today, sir.
Not
Not
today, sir.
today.
Goddamn communist. Anyway.
So, Billy, to get back on your the stuff you guys are selling. So I bought a RS3 fuel pump original. What's the retro kit like? What is
Do you have
it
a silver or
changing?
black controller?
Black controller.
Why does it matter
Okay,
what color it is?
so,
Why has it got to be black?
well, so the silver controllers, and you know what? We've said it enough in
Sorry.
email, so it doesn't matter to me whether I get yelled at or not. The silver controller, we found that depending on your tuner, could be driven too hard and would overheat. And it would
Okay.
overheat
The pump
so
itself?
badly. No, the module. The
Okay.
module would overheat so badly that the case would split. And one
Holy
of the
shit.
things that I have to remember here is that when we do our testing, we do it all with United Motorsport. So if I test 10 cars with UM for a month or two and I have no problems, I'm good with that. Then when it hits the real world and all different Cobb tuners, you get guys that still for some reason think Eurodyne's good at all. And the
Anything
different
that ends in
pro-
dying, really. Like
Yeah.
we've evolved past that as a society.
No, it's fine. Shout out to Chris Tapp. I still hate you at Eurodyne. What's it called? But at the end of the day, every tuner tuned the pump differently.
Yeah.
So sometimes you would have modules overheat, sometimes you don't. And we would literally find that specifically, didn't matter who was tuning it, it was on the Cobb platform, the silver controller would overheat.
Yeah.
And I wish I could tell you why. I'm not an
So
electrical engineer.
weird.
I couldn't tell you the exact specifications of it. A lot of the times when I'd have people send me logs, it looked as if, I don't know if it's a Cobb thing, I don't know if it's a tuner thing, but they run much higher pressure out of the fuel pump. So a lot of times you'll just see the fuel pressure ramping and just bouncing off the regulator.
So like when you say
And
a Cobb thing, these
things
are
like
dudes
that.
running off the shelf maps from Cobb?
No, No. Custom
Custom
tuners
tunes?
didn't
Okay.
matter the tuner though. That was the big thing.
Yeah,
to
that's
take
what I'm
out of
saying.
that.
Like that's because
It
like
didn't matter the tuner.
because like for a Subaru guy, it's like unless you're buying your
Nope.
power package from Cobb, right? Like you merely use the access port as a platform to have somebody custom tune it, right? Like my shit, I had my tuner send me a lint map so I could drive it out to him.
Yeah, who
Off-boost,
actually
whatever.
uses Cobb?
Well, when it comes down to it, the brushless pumps for what we're doing, for lack of better words, they're all not really done correctly at the end of the day. They're done to work. The correct way of doing it would be with like $1,000 control modules specifically programmed to which pump you're running at what time. But let's be real, how many guys with GTIs and Golf Rs are going to spend $2 to $3 grand on a drop-in fuel pump to support 500 horsepower? No one. When it comes down
Kyle
to it.
is
So
that ignorant
Hand
for the
down.
record.
Put your
I'm,
fucking hand down.
I'm
So
not. I'm that
what-
guy. Maybe.
when it
You're
comes
that guy.
down to it,
You're
the
probably looking the
RS3
part up right now.
controller, no, the RS3 controller with the RS3 fuel pump works amazing. And it is a
Yeah.
great pair because they are made to work together. The OEM black P-Berg controller, it doesn't get hot. You can drive the pumps 100%. And honestly, before you burn the controller up, you're going to burn the pump up. Like, and I have seen that. We've had a couple cars where the pumps are driven way higher than they should be. Guys send me pictures, I think, out of probably the hundreds of kits we sold. It's like maybe a couple where the top of the hat is melted at the connector.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And
What's
What's
the
up?
biggest change? So I bought
so you have our RS3 pump,
RS3
and you're talking about what we have coming now where it's the ProTech setup, right?
I think so.
So our newest
You guys
our
just
newest
released
iteration.
something new.
Yeah, so that's the ProTech fuel pump. And what it
Okay.
is, we partnered with ProTech in the United Kingdom. They build now around the Golf top hats. So you either get green or blue top hat now with all the OEM connections in it. So there's no more cutting and splicing of the level sensors. You just plug everything in play, and then
Yeah.
we sort it all with our harness and controller and everything like that. The ProTech pump is made pretty much to support our Garrett kits as a drop-in solution.
Okay.
And it's priced now the same as competitors' RS3 pumps. But really, the main advantage to that is we also can add in a lift pump. We use the OEM connection on the top hat where
Yeah.
the brushed pump used to be. You wire that now inside with plug and play harness that we'll provide. All of that will go to your lift pump. The lift pump now keeps your basket filled, and you can drive the car down to low mileage and not have a fuel slosh issue of when you like launch the car and shit like that.
Right.
That's the major difference. It's just more output, and you can add on a lift pump now. And the OEM connections are now there. There's no more there's no more adapters needed, things like that.
So basically, everything is plug and play. I
Yep.
mean, it's still like you add the ground to that one little slot, right?
Nope. No more adding to the ground.
Oh shit. Okay, so
Yep.
that's nice.
It is now, for lack of better words, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone, it is now idiot proof. It should take no more than 10 to 15 minutes to put in your driveway. And
I'm an
then it's just
idiot.
on
We
your
can
tuner.
see if that's true.
So
I'm an idiot too, depending on who you ask. So,
Does the lift pump just sit outside the basket?
yep. On the Golf R's, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I have to look in. I have fuel tanks that are all like cut up with the tops out of them. On the R's, there's actually lines in the tank that are perfect where you zip tie the lift pump. Lift pump's like yay big.
yeah,
Not that big. Super simple. And you can just cable tie it up in there. It doesn't make any noise, doesn't rattle, doesn't cause any issues. And then it's just one hose with a filter that goes to the back and one that comes over the side and just keeps the basket filled.
So is that an answer to the question of this dude who was asking, does the lift pump just sit outside the basket? Because I
Yeah.
got to get a beverage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
So
want to make
like
sure
I
people are
have
asking
your
questions we're answering. That's
I
all.
have your setup right before.
I can't even see any of the chat stuff. So
Yeah, so I
Did
have
you click
your
on the
setup
chat
right.
part?
Sounds like
Yeah.
you're under 30 and don't know how to work
it says
technology.
welcome to chat. Welcome to the chat room. Wait, do I
So
have the
somebody
Twitch up?
ask EQT why they melt. Like
He was talking to them. He was talking about the modules. So
The
was
modules
was that a
themselves.
shade? Was that a shady comment
That was
It
a
looks
shade
like
throw.
it.
Yeah.
toward our boys?
Well,
at
here's what I
EQT?
say to that. It's not exclusive to EQT.
It's not
There-
100%.
it's not.
No.
I've never had United Motorsport melt one. Jeff, I think, has posted online that he's never melted one either. They go. I can't put it any other way. I don't know why it's specific to the Cobb guys. I've seen a couple Eurodyne ones here and there, but it was very, very specific to the Cobb ones. And I don't know if that's because there were more Cobb guys buying them, because Cobb is much more prevalent. But for instance, here at the shop, I've had 0 of them melt. The ones that I've had to replace, actually, I shouldn't say 0. There's probably a couple that I forgot about here and there.
Maybe you
But-
can attribute that to part failure though too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know. It's one of those things where the silver controller was very reliable when Hank was using it, because it's a Touareg brushless fuel pump controller from I think a diesel Touareg.
yeah,
Yes.
Kyle and I
uses
talked.
it and
This
all
was
hit.
the shit I told Kyle to put in his car like a million years
Yeah.
ago because that was like the joint,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
because it's essentially like damn near the fucking Veyron setup, right?
Yeah.
Like they're almost See?
No, so the Veyron pump is about a 590 liter an hour pump, if I remember,
Okay.
and the RS3 one comes in at about a 520 liter an hour pump,
Okay.
530.
So,
So
okay.
it's
Which is
just
not
call it a mini
surprising.
van-
What's
call
a
it a- call it a smaller
W16
Veyron.
fucking engine that you have to feed? Like, let's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call it a small Veyron pump.
Right.
But the Veyron pump guys on the RS3s, when they're trying to hit 1,000, they're seeing the same issue. But instead of
Oh.
burning controllers, they're burning the pumps. Like we have 2 TTRSs that they're both IROS pumped cars, single IROS Veyron pumps, and they both now need surge tank setups because the single pump is burning up and can't handle the power.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I mean that's the thing though too is like when you're trying to push that kind of power, if you can't feed it, man, you know what I mean. You're gonna really start to see you're stress testing everything right at that point.
Yeah.
Like
A
how
lot
hard is
of-
everything running?
Right.
Yeah, a lot of it is that I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Mark 7 like Warburl stuff. The
Mhm.
biggest thing is that the Warburl shit sucks. I don't care who
does.
makes it. Either. Like every manufacturer sucks. Hell, I have a Warburl kit here that we used to do, and I get people that still want to buy them, and I'm like, why? I'm like, spend the money for it. We even sell now, since we're doing the ProTech stuff. We can sell you all the stuff now to do your own RS3 setup.
Right.
You don't have to spend whatever. I don't even know what they cost off of like competitors' websites and things like that.
But for the cost,
You can buy a
do
used RS3 pump for $300-400. Hell, you could buy them new for $400 or $500 from the dealer.
yeah.
The module's $150
Yep.
from a dealer, or you could buy it from ours, and we sell you the module harness and all the fittings to plug and play it for I think it's $250 plus shipping.
Yeah.
So you could piece together your own RS3 pump kit for now $650, $700.
$600-700. Yeah.
You don't need to
Then-
spend $1,300 on that.
And that's like the thing I think that's like when you're fucking with something like, and I think this is, let me finish the sentence properly. When you're dealing with products like the Volkswagen Group, where you have such a high performance ceiling in the catalog of their products, because when you hit the tip top, you're talking fucking Chiron, you're talking 911 turbo, you're talking right. You have all of these products in the umbrella of the family that power these incredible vehicles, but they're still basically designed to talk to each other, even if you're going down to a lower performance vehicle like a GTI. That's the way to go. Like if you can buy an OEM part that will fit the application that you're trying to hit and give you the ability to hit the number you're trying to hit, whatever that may be, whether it be braking performance, whether it be putting 911 brakes on a fucking Golf R, whatever the fucking case may be, right? If you can pull something from the factory, OEM parts are so rigorously tested and just so overdeveloped. Like, dude, if you can find an OEM part that works, put a fucking OEM part on it, dude. Like, don't go to the aftermarket.
Don't even get me started on Volkswagen water pumps and injectors, and
They
they can't make any of that stuff since what $19.99 that
that's-
actually works.
That's
Yeah,
totally
big
fair.
time.
That's totally. But what I'm talking again, going back to like a Subaru guy,
Rack
where it's
your
like the
meters.
STI is like the cream of the crop. It's like, yeah, but it's slow. So like, I need to make that thing fast. It's like, well, I don't know, get fucked or something. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, they've literally said like, oh, we're not going to make the STI faster because there's a ton of aftermarket support. That's from the company, right? So it's like, okay, so I just have to figure it out. And
I
you
just
can-
have to do it myself. I
and
buy
you can-
this stock car for $45,000 and
45
grand.
fucking grand, and I have to go get fucked and buy some shit from AEM. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
so that I can keep up with the Golf R.
Yeah. So
we spent
mind
50
you-
grand and put $700 in it. Yeah, no, I get it.
I think
mind
that
you-
like you guys were talking about like the RS3 pump and it going to turbo kits now. What made the RS3 pump so easy to put in was the fact it was plug and play.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
And if you look at the turbo kits now that are on the market, it's us and one other person that makes a full frame kit more or less for now. I'm sure there's going to be 100 of them. There's another company's full frame kit local to us that isn't very fast. So it's
What do
not
you
really
mean?
worth
You
it.
haven't heard of eBay? There's probably like 15 more.
Oh, gosh.
And
Shut up,
I
Timmy.
mean, one of the cool things that we have coming out that I probably will announce either right before or right after the new year is
Or right
we actually
now.
have
right now.
okay, or right
Right-
now,
right
and
now.
I've teased that it is we have, as far as I know, one of the only internally gated Garrett turbo kits for these cars right now. We have the internally
Interesting.
gated Garrett G30 770 on a car, running, driving, tuning.
Do you
And
need,
Shit.
the thing's
do you
great.
need a West Coast car to run it?
Who are
You
you
gotta,
tuned
you
with?
gotta sign up. You gotta sign up right now.
He's tuned with EQT.
Okay, so he's tuned with EQT. I put this on the EQT page for anyone that's interested. I will sell them one of our externally gated kits at 10% over cost, just so that it can get tuned on EQT. But the stipulation is you have if Ed can't make it work, or you have a problem with it, because it would be the first Cobb one. Whoever wants it, you can't get a refund from Ed, and you can't get a refund from me. You got to
Oh,
figure it out.
Kyle's
after that.
stupid enough to do this. 10
Yes.
out of 10.
Yes. Sign him
Because
up.
Because Ed,
He'll-
it doesn't matter if it can work or not. If anyone can figure it out, it'll probably be Ed.
Yeah.
And if he can't, it'll probably be a Cobb limitation
Kyle's
at
your
that point.
Huckleberry. Kyle's your fucking
And,
Huckleberry.
yeah,
dude, for
it'll
sure.
probably be. It would
Billy,
realistically
we're gonna-
at that point
Billy-
be
Sounds like
a
Kyle's
Cobb
not buying
limitation.
that A4.
So,
Billy, you
That's the biggest
understand
thing.
that
For
Kyle
all
has
the time that
two
EQT
engines
puts into
sitting
it,
in the
they keep
garage,
it.
right? You
Yeah,
understand this.
Kyle's
Kyle has
ready to blow.
two engines ready to go in the
This
garage in
man
case this shit
is-
blows up.
Is
So I
well
say we
past the
full
point of
send
giving a
this
fuck.
shit and let's just
Well
do it.
past the point of giving a fuck.
Yeah, he had like, hey, we're ready for this shit to blow up, and we thought it was gonna blow up like 6 months ago, but it was a
seriously,
spark
like
plug.
6 months ago.
So wait, here's a real question. I have this, and this is because this is something I've been trying to get Kyle to do forever, mainly because we never got a 2-door Golf R.
Yeah.
Right. Kyle has a 2-door GTI. How difficult and bullshitty is that all-wheel drive conversion?
Kyle, if you want, I'll send you a parts list offline of this that I just don't share with people.
I'm done.
And
I mean,
you-
I have
it's an
the-
MQB car. It should be very, very simple.
Let's
I mean,
fucking go, baby.
Let's go over it.
Do it.
Hold on, time out.
The-
Golf R trans.
What
Driveline.
kind of GTI do you have?
The
Do you
2016
have a performance package or no?
No, but I have stop type brakes.
Like I asked, you
Wave
don't have
track
EDIF
Ls.
though, right?
I have a Wave Track LSD.
Okay, so all you have to do for your car specifically is change the inner axle seal. Oh wait, you a manual or DSG?
Manual.
Okay, perfect. All you have to do is change your inner diff seal and put a manual Golf R Wave Track trans in, and you'll have an
Easy
all-wheel
money.
drive transmission.
Easy money.
And this guy says he has to put
No!
a spare tire tray. The spare tire tray has to be changed.
Yes.
The GTI's is deeper.
Yeah, because now you have to change all
So-
four wheels.
So you wait.
So the
So
guy
let
that-
me get this straight. He needs a new diff. He needs a new tranny, and then he needs
Yep.
to drive. He needs a custom drive.
No, he
shaft.
doesn't. He doesn't need a new tranny. He just literally has to change the diff in the tranny and change the diff seal
Oh,
on the
okay,
engine side.
but he would need a custom drive shaft because the U.S. spec, or you could get a
No.
German spec.
No,
You could get
No.
the German spec.
it's
Alphard
all the
drive
same.
shaft would be the same.
all the
It's
same.
all MQB, so they're the
So-
same exact car.
Bryce,
Even though the other one's longer.
it's not longer. It's the same
So,
platform.
what do you want to say about Bryce? Because that could segue us into something.
So-
Oh fuck! I would
Bryce-
love to hear this shit. Let's go.
Bryce will sell me his dog box. I just need a drive line, the rear axles, the rear diff, the Haldex controller, the gas tank, and the exhaust.
yeah,
all
essentially.
I
Wait, to make his S3 a manual?
No,
No,
to
to
make
make-
my
Oh, his
GTI
all-wheel drive.
all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
Or
Get
like
with the
he
fucking
wants
program,
the
man.
front wheel drive and
You
the
would need the
S3?
rear subframe too.
No,
No.
Yeah.
To make
Subframe.
Kyle's. To make Kyle's.
Subframe, yeah,
He
subframe
still
as well.
has the
yeah.
other car. He's trying to get put it back to stock.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he still had the other car.
Yeah.
Also, this dude says that Bryce already sold the dog box. Which, like,
God damn it, Bryce.
dude, if anything, you should be hitting up fucking Kyle and figuring out where the fuck he got his dog box
So
from.
if you need the dog box, actually, one of my best friends is the one that makes them all.
There you go.
FFE Racing.
That's the
Yeah.
same guy that Gurney bought his
Gonna
fucking
talk-
dog box
Gonna
from.
talk to Eddie
Yes,
over at
Tom
FFE
Gurney.
Racing.
Look at how deep we are in the fucking MQB
Talk to
community
Eddie at
right now.
FFE Racing. He will gladly sell you one. I can help you locate it. You need a Mark 5 or 6 transmission for it though, because the synchros change between 6 and 7s. The synchros change, and I have one apart. It's the input shaft has like a pressed on collar instead
Yeah.
of clips.
Slide collar.
So
Oh,
the
it's
gears don't
circular
fit.
collar.
Yeah, so the gears don't fit on the newer stuff. But speaking of Bryce, probably the worst kept secret on the internet is we actually bought Bryce's old car, the Blue Golf R.
God damn
Really?
it.
We bought that. It's actually at FFE right now, getting a cage and shoot setup done. And that's going to be our new race car to
Hell
shoot
yeah.
the record with it.
Fuck yeah.
Ovid and I bought it, and that thing will probably be sent to the moon hard as hell because neither
More
one
than
of us
he
needs to
sent
daily
it to
drive
the
it, so
moon?
it could just keep blowing up for all we
Spoiler
care.
Spoiler.
But yeah, that's gonna be a
shit.
nice car.
That's awesome,
It's
dude.
all done.
Let's
We
go.
have,
Holy fuck, man.
we have a fully set up engine for it already. We're gonna do
Sick.
our kit on it. The whole point though of what we want to do with the car is I don't want to shoot for the record, race with it, or
My first
anything
is
with
10,000 RPM.
yeah, I don't want to do anything with that car
God
that we
damn.
can't offer to the public as well. So
Yeah,
it's not going to have a bunch of
okay.
one-off parts on it. It's not going to have like
That's fucking tight.
all
That's
sorts of
super
crazy
cool.
shit on it. That's going to be
You
hey,
can use it
you
as a
can't do
development
this.
platform.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
fucking
Hell
sick.
yeah.
It'll be
God damn
something
it.
where like, hey, you want to do this.
Alex
This
wants
is
to
what
leave
it's going to
me.
take, and it's
Don't
probably
you
going to
fucking
break a
leave
lot.
me.
It's gonna
but
happen.
This is
It's
where it's
happening.
at.
Like,
God, I fucking hate you.
So here's
Let's
like,
go.
I'm
Let's
gonna
go.
tell
Let's
I'm
go,
gonna tell you
Alex.
I'm gonna tell you like this, Mike. I'm gonna be real fucking honest with you. I'm gonna be real fucking serious with you.
There
is
better
that
be
I-
some fucking shitbox 240 or 180
That's what I
or
was gonna
something.
say. That's what I was gonna
Hate your
say.
asshole.
So here's the thing: is that
I
what
can't be the only goddamn Japanese one.
what I really
You're gonna
want in my
be,
every Japanese car that my heart pines for is 30 years old.
So what?
My
They all
STI.
cost too much.
No, they don't. They don't all cost too much. But like,
To
I
get
need it
one now.
I need a quick daily like now, right? And like I need something more comfortable than my STI. And you already know that like when you know your 15 was probably rattling like a motherfucker before you sold it too.
The only rattle was the back speaker on the right side.
That's just because you don't.
Oh, you mean the one that
listen
goes
as
brrrr the whole time you're
but
driving? Yeah,
remember,
that one.
It was
Okay.
fucking 3-inch straight pipe. Like I didn't hear that shit.
You've
when I
heard
rode
my
through.
car before. Oh, so wait, you could this. I want you. Okay, Billy. I want you to like just be
You haven't rode in
here.
the back of
No,
that.
no,
car.
no, no,
That
no.
sucked.
I want you to be here and just hear this bullshit rationalization that's going on. I don't care how bad my car is rattling itself apart. I can't hear it over the obnoxious exhaust anyway. That's the fucking logic. Here.
It's a fucking fact. It's a fucking fact.
By the way, Mike, my door panel is still rattling.
Nobody cares.
That bitch is
don't
out of
care.
warranty and you're fucking
Anyways.
unemployed. Get fucked.
Hey,
So,
You got
Yeah.
now, bitch.
Out of
Turn your
warranty.
fucking radio up.
speaking of like A2B parts, the first time, so I had Mike over. Who else is over?
Just
What,
Mike.
You what?
When I was doing my A2B like
We
MPI,
had, it
Literally
was
everyone
me,
was there. I
you,
have video of it
Chris,
that I've never
everybody
edited.
except
Chris,
for
Lenny
Alex.
was there.
I was
Yeah.
already here. Yeah.
So
I wasn't there.
bro, talk
Hey, man.
about minus me like figuring out like how everything gets plugged in, and then a little bit of shaving of the like valve cover, like fucking awesome kit, by the way.
Thank you.
Fit and finish. You guys came out with the spacer kit like right after like everything I ordered. I'm the one who powder coated it matte black.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So just so like it blends in, nobody sees it. You know, if I pop the hood, the only thing that like really pops now is the
Carbon air box?
APR, like it's the APR catch can like setup, like because it's, I mean, it's loud, right? Like you see the lines and all that bullshit, but you look hard
Kyle's,
enough.
you've always had like a really well put together car. Like Kyle's GTR is a GTI is one of the cleanest cars I've seen in person in a very long time. Like it's just very well put together. You know what I mean? Like, and I
I just
appreciate
like
that type of shit.
the simple like setup, the simple touch to things, the simple look to things. Like it looks OEM, you know, but if
Bitch,
you
a
look hard
billet
enough,
fucking no, a billet PCB plate does not look OEM with AN fittings coming out. That does not look OEM.
oh, it doesn't now, but right, like it did before.
He
So
wanted more
like,
power, so he got more
back
power
to
with
what
fittings.
Kyle's saying though, if he didn't have the APR catch can, all of our hardware fits underneath the stock engine cover.
100%.
See, that's
that
so
was
tight.
That was a big thing,
Yeah.
was that we wanted to keep both engine mount brackets on
Mm.
the car so that you could put the engine cover on it. Everything that's on our kit, even though it's ever evolving, is only there. And the only reason I ever even started making my own parts was because there were a lot of companies that I work with that would not accept our feedback. It was, well, you installed it wrong, or well, I don't need to change that.
Yeah, it's always user error. So
Like
SEO
here,
or
Kyle, for
so, like,
example, has his. He just said he had to shave down the valve cover. That was a big thing because what happens is, as with anything, we fit probably 5-10 of them. Did a shit ton of the fuel rails in house. Well, then we start shipping them, and we start getting guys calling us, going, "Hey, the fuel rail with the 3S NPT fitting on the side, then with your lines on it, actually crashes into the valve cover. The fitting does."
yeah,
And I look at the cars here in the shop, and I go, "No, it doesn't. You're installing it wrong." And then they're sending me pictures, and Volkswagen and Audi had inconsistent. The casting of the head was so inconsistent,
yeah,
just like a Subaru engine's inconsistently built on the bottom
Rude.
end.
But accurate.
They you actually would have to grind it down on some of the cars to fit, and
I was
professional
literally-
terms, it's clearancing. You have
Yeah.
to clearance the valve cover so that the fitting.
Yeah,
will
you
fit.
should see them. You should see my exhaust. It's clearance real good.
I was like, no, put your headphones back on, Billy.
He's already gone. We've already lost him. He's going to get milk and cigarettes. He'll be
So-
back in 3 to 18 years.
Shop is on fire.
So scroll.
Sorry.
So,
Oh,
Sorry,
here he
I
goes.
was
Oh, we got
literally-
parts. Oh,
So-
show and tell.
so
Here he goes.
Plug.
No,
Look at all
so
these
here's the
plugs
rail.
this dude is
okay,
doing right now.
so
Here's the
look at-
rail that Kyle has. It has
Yeah.
this fitting on it.
Yes,
When you
sir.
put the AN fitting on it from you have our new XRP lines, right? The
So-
crimped on lines.
We will go offline about that.
Okay. So
Anyways,
So
if you
no.
have the new
So-
XRP lines,
Yeah.
everything clears and it goes onto the fitting here. Problem is that this fitting on the end of the rail now has how can I put it? It pushes the female AN too far out to here.
yes.
So that's where it touches the valve cover. What we did is now third revision, and I'm sure someone's going to yell at me for this, is we now modified the end again, if you could see. So
Oh, it
now
kicks
it
up.
sweeps up.
Yeah, it kicks up. Yeah.
Instead of just the angle, now you have the sweep, and instead of the 3/8 NPT, you can
Mine
now
too, Jake.
Ooh.
you can actually now have it's
So,
dash 8.
I was
Yeah.
There's
so-
dash 8 ORB here.
So We haven't released the video like footage of me doing the install.
That's
of
my
the
fault
MPI.
because I'm bad at editing stuff.
Fuck
and
you,
it,
Alex.
yeah,
Hey,
it's just
I
a
tell
6-month-old
everyone
video,
that-
whatever.
Straight up,
I-
tell everyone that installs our parts. Give me the brutal, honest feedback
Yep.
because it's the only way we can ever improve this.
So
make
it
it
looks
better.
like
Roast him.
you may have fixed it. I was literally cussing at. I had quite the moment. I had my GoPro on my. I think it was on my chest, and I was like, F A2B this, F E2 that, right?
Nothing I
'Cause-
haven't heard before.
Right. So like I love the fit and finish, right? I love plug and play. Like if it
Yep.
goes together, like perfect, right? At the end of the day, everything worked. Everything was functional. I just had to do a little bit of shaving of my valve cover, like not that big of a deal. Um, I was like, if they just did this or did this, it would fit perfect. Everything would work fine. And it looks like you guys fixed it. So at that moment in time, I was pretty upset because all they had to do was like change the angle of the fuel rail or change the angle of the fitting. It looks like you guys,
Just
fixed
that
it.
much.
Right. It
So
such a
what
small degree.
What also made the big difference is you no longer need this adapter. So what we did with our XRP lines is we got in touch with XRP. Dave over there is awesome dude to work with. And what they did is they actually made us a couple custom fittings. So now what we have is we have our Pro Plus line that's bigger than normal -6 line. I'd say it's like, oh man, it's like 10 to 20% smaller than a -8 line is. So it's like you have a -8 line with the size of a -6 line. That line now has a crimp fitting that actually goes to -8 ORB. So now you don't have any stupid adapters coming off. Your fitting now screws directly into the rail and now clearances your valve cover perfectly out the side. So there's no more having to grind any of that or change anything.
Perfect.
And
There's
so that-
also a space. What the hell was it like? So from the
You have a billet manifold?
no, I have a Euro manifold.
Okay, so if you have a billet manifold, we came out with a spacer kit that moves the rail 13 millimeter away from
Right.
the flange face.
Yeah.
If you have a Euro manifold, because the nut certs are set recessed, you would need, which we started including with all of them, you would have to use the same bolts, but I think we included a 3 millimeter spacer
Yeah.
that would move the rail just the enough that you would need, because when you install our nut certs, they actually go in, you screw them in, and they break. So now they're permanent into the manifold. And they break a little bit above the boss that they screw into.
Yeah. I
That was
also
I think you were actually the one that reached out to us to tell us that it was not right. And I was like, oh shit, that's the first one I've had. Because when we do MPI here, and I know probably every other shop does it this way, secrets out, a lot of the times we do MPI on the car. Manifold never comes off.
yeah, that I never pulled my manifold to do the MPI at all. Like, there was also one other thing I left out where the damn it, forgive my memory here, where the rail goes into that little junction box back down to the fuel pump.
Yep.
So it's a small junction box. I left out a fuel line because I didn't like how I think it was like a kink or an angle where it was at. I'll send you a picture later.
Yeah, send me a picture.
Yeah, I have a line sitting up the at my shop where I left out that basically it left a smoother line to the fuel pump.
I'm trying to think
We'll talk,
of
yeah, we'll talk offline later.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Like,
send you
do
pictures
you
about it.
have the XRP lines or do you have the old stuff?
I probably have.
Is the
it's
fuel
probably
line
both,
massive with no crimped on fittings?
No, it's all crimped shit, but
Okay, so that's XRP one. Yeah, there's a routing that we did for the one line. We've actually made a running revision of that, so
Yeah.
that the line from the fuel rail to the, I guess you'd say, the firewall there by the coolant
Yep.
bottle.
Yep.
That line itself is now shorter. And
Perfect.
yeah, I think
'Cause-
like the
yeah.
first 5 or so kits, if you got one of those, the line was written down wrong on the measurement sheet.
Gotcha.
So what you would have to do with that line is you'd bring it down the coolant bottle, and then you'd have to loop it around the coolant line on the side to make it work correctly.
Yeah, I took that extra line and tossed it.
Got to do it.
Because and
Well, see, this is the
I'm-
thing that like I
yeah.
always want to make customers aware of is if you have problems like that, they need to reach out.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Including yourself. Because like
Yeah.
if you reached out and got in touch with us before, it was, I'll self-admit, it was probably very difficult. But
sure.
we've been working to fix that. And now it would have been as simple as, hey, let me crimp you a new line and exchange it.
It's so funny too, just to, like hear this like back and forth because like I've like been on a factory production line before, and granted it was working for like the last example you would ever want to use for like how to build a car company.
Yeah, that. Don't even say it.
We don't need to say it. All I'm going to say is they build really fast toasters. Anyway, great appliances, and maybe you can play video games on them now, and they run with half a steering wheel, but whatever. But like I've seen firsthand how like you say, oh, we're doing running revisions on our parts, and we're doing this and that. Auto manufacturers do that on their cars.
Well,
And they don't-
Volkswagen's revised the injector 27 times. So why
Yeah.
can't I revise the part 4 times?
Right.
Exactly
not
right,
talk
but it's
about
like, but they don't
ignition
tell
coils.
anybody
Let's
that
not
shit.
talk about
Right?
coil
They don't. They
packs.
don't say that.
No
Like
coil
that's
packs.
that's not like a. Oh, we have
For
a
recall-
we have a 19.1.5. We don't they don't tell people that, like, unless the exterior changes, right, or there's some notable
Exactly.
change. There's no
And that's
like
one of the big things is like a lot of times, I don't know, I'd say 60% of the time you run into
It
it, it's
works every
install
time.
error. Like you'll
Yeah.
have a guy that puts a pin into an ECM backwards. They were told by their friend to use, I don't know, a pin or something generic to push a fucking pin out, like one of the dummy
ferrule out,
pins.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
they break the 105 pin connector. You get stupid shit like that. But when it comes down to actual fit and finish, unless somebody tells me that there's something wrong with it, I don't know. And unless I can work you through it to
Billy,
the point where it's like easy to do, then I have to change it.
Well, I think
Billy,
that's the thing too.
send-
Is like
hold on. Send
sorry,
every
Dad's talking.
development and any new product to me, and I'll give you honest criticism.
Okay.
This shit sucks. I shouldn't have paid for it and asked for a free asked for a refund,
what
but
the
I am
fuck?
making 700
I'll pay
real
for the
horsepower.
shit. No. I'll pay for the shit. I don't care.
But what I was gonna say is like as somebody like in your situation, right? Like you were saying, like, oh, dude fucked up a connector. You can kind of know over the phone, like, oh, you fucked up the connector. But if it's like, hey, I bolted this thing to the place it's supposed to get bolted to, and now it collides with something else, does that like ring in your head? Like, oh, either A, there's an inconsistency in manufacturing, or like B, this dude is a complete fucking dumbass and like mounted a part upside down.
I've had both. I've actually had I've
I've-
actually done it myself, so I can't argue with that.
I've done the MPI like wiring harness, like just had a long day. We were doing GTR shit. We were doing my
God,
my
we have the most
install.
first fucking world problems. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Oh, we were working on 2 GTRs in the same day.
Yeah,
And then we were
two
fucking-
GTRs the same day where I had swapped
Sorry.
the MPI harness, and I was like super mad at A2B, and I was like, this shit should be plug and play, blah blah blah. Posted
I'm
picture.
so
somebody
glad I
was like-
never released this video.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
posted a picture, and somebody was like, yo, bro, that doesn't look right. I was like, that
I think
doesn't
I
look
did.
right.
You ran the
You-
harness on the
you-
wrong side.
100%. I swapped the harness and was like, oh, fuck me.
I remember
Right.
that. I remember that post. One of
Yeah.
my many
Dumbass.
friends
Yeah.
sent me and was like, dude, this guy's ripping on you. And I'm looking at the photo and I'm like, I even at first
Shit
was
was
like,
wrong.
huh. I'm like,
Yeah.
that looks
Because-
something's weird about this, but it looks right still. And then I'm like, no, the harness
100%.
is flipped and routed the wrong way around the manifold.
Yeah, because in my head, the harness should be laid like this, right?
I remember
like
this conversation actually.
manufacturer spec, like because I work for a dealership, I'm like, this looks right. it's not fitting right. I have to like open up the harness, move this wire harness to this right, and then it'll be right. And then somebody was like, no, something's not right. Like, and as soon as they said that and I looked at it, I kind of stepped back. I took a good breath and I was like, you know what? Like, let me unplug it and kind of like figure out something. I switched it and I was like, motherfucker, this is right now. Like, I had it backwards because the way the wire harness was like, injector, and then the harness went this way. In my head, it was like flip. The wire harness should have started over here instead of over here, like type of thing. So
I feel like this is like a great moment for us as like burgeoning content creators, in the sense that like we're like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Billy. I speak for the entire podcast when I say that we feel fortunate to have guys like yourself and Ed and Dave and everybody, honestly, who's ever been a guest on our podcast come on, because we're still relatively small. We've only been doing this for like fucking 13 months, right? And the support we've had, especially from like the Euro, like the Volkswagen community, has been huge, right?
big time.
That's awesome.
And so to come into this and just kind of start something during COVID, and if you look at our first couple episodes, they're super rough. And like we've been trying to refine everything and make everything look more professional. That being said, it's important to recognize when there's a moment where we're still regular like garage wrenching dudes, and like I think anybody who's ever worked on their own car has had that I threw the fucking wrench across the garage moment when you're just
I still throw the wrench across the shop here.
right.
I just have to be
Yeah.
careful not to hit anything important.
But it's like, but for you, it's like, oh, you're pissed at either, oh, this customer's car has been sitting outside and it's rusty and it's not agreeing with me and blah, blah, blah. For guys like us, it's we purchase parts from a manufacturer and they're not going in how we thought they should. But that doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with the part, especially for me, like I went to tech school, but like that doesn't really fucking mean anything in the grand scheme of things, right? Like that just means I know which tool to use in the right job, right? Or like I can recognize when I don't have the right tool for the job, right? That's all it really is. But that doesn't mean that you can't read a set of instructions wrong or misunderstand how a part gets bolted up, or especially when it comes to like suspension systems and shit, like how shit goes on. And it's really important for us, especially now that we have people that relatively frequently watch us, don't get pissed and say some shit disparaging a manufacturer when we're the ones fucking up and like not like
So
objectively
that's
looking at
kind
things
of
professionally.
100%.
how you're saying that though is like that's what I come from.
Right.
Remember I was building cars in the garage. Like my white Golf R that I used to race, that
Mhm.
car was built in my mom's garage because
Right.
being
what you
dealer
did.
guys, you get kicked out of the dealer shop after 45 minutes after you told them you need to use it for 3 hours. So at the end of the day,
Never been there.
I'm trying to make everything easy and able to do
100.
on your own. So like example, our externally gated turbo kit now. We make all of the lines now, everything's crimping lines. So your oil return line's crimped, and that sets your orientation off of your oil return of how your CHRA, the center housing,
Mhm.
has to be in the car. We
How it's
mock
all clocked and all
everything.
everything.
Yeah, we mock up and fully install the turbo kit on a mock-up engine before you get it. So everything now is you get it and you just install it on the car.
So the
You don't have to
the
fuck with it
housings
for
are
4 hours.
clocked and everything like that. Yeah.
Everything is perfect already.
See, that's
so you have
that's
to do nothing. Like I pull the whole thing off, put it in a box and give it to you. And then
Which
it's
was,
how
like,
you
easy
put it
on
on.
STI.
Everything plug and play, like in my world, is
Like that's the
It's
goal. Like you put our
crucial.
harness in, was
yeah.
wiring the harness, and wasn't it nice having pins on crimped onto wires where they actually fit into the ECM plug?
Right. Like, well, that's the other thing is I had to turn to the instructions were kind of vague.
There
So
weren't
I
any.
had,
You don't have to be nice about it. We don't
Right.
include any instructions in our MPI, and
no,
I
yeah.
have no shame in telling you that I tell
So,
everyone to
no
go follow APR's
instructions.
instructions.
So
APR put a
so
lot of
no
work into their
instructions, yeah.
300-page instructions, and after my Golf R being down there for 9 months and being a headache, I could use their
So-
instructions.
So turn to, I mean, I don't know what the updated process is, but there was, when I installed my MPI, there was no instructions. I had to turn to, what's the VW Racing, their performance,
Okay.
whatever their website
So
is.
it's probably for the pin colors, right? Because we
Yeah,
all
for the pin
you'll
colors,
notice
for
that
the-
everyone's kind of standardized the colors for the harness.
Right.
Like everyone's harnesses are all the same colors.
Right. So I had to turn to VWR Racing or whatever they're
Yep.
called. Their manual with installing the the pins, pull out the dead pins, whatever, put in the wire and harness, which isn't that big of a deal, like for an installer, for like me, for a mechanical background, but for somebody who doesn't know anything mechanical or is trying to do something on their own, like, in my opinion,
Exactly how you've described it is why I tell everyone and refer them to the APR instructions. Like
Right.
I hate to say it, and people can rag on me all they want for not writing my own instructions for it.
If it ain't
The
broke,
problem
dude.
is that
they've already
I don't-
done it.
no, I don't have the patience for it. I'll be
Right.
straight up. I'm gonna write you instructions as if I'm installing it on the car, and I know it's
Right.
not gonna be as simple as it should be.
You should just start
And there'll probably
emailing
be a
people
big
the link
shortcut.
to the APR instructions.
I
Like,
do.
here's
I've
your
already
receipt.
done it.
I do.
And here's
I
the
send it
link
to them.
to
I go,
it.
here's the PDF.
What
And
is
So,
it?
so
Hold
and
on,
this is
hold on.
and,
make it
wait, wait,
question.
and I have a
They
question.
make it so easy. They have pictures and everything of each step of what they did.
I
They
have
do.
a question, and this is complete fucking ignorance to the platform. So if this is a dumb question, like, forgive me.
It's already
There's no
done.
such thing as dumb questions. Only stupid people.
And that's why we have Timmy on the podcast. So is this a
Love you, Timmy.
situation where you could include like a patch or a jumper harness to go from one connector to the other, or is it just easier
No.
to repin the situation?
No,
There's
so
no
you actually have
jumper
to add
harness.
the pins.
Yeah.
Okay.
into
Oh,
the
you're
ECM
you're
port.
adding additional pin. Okay.
You
No,
had 5, 4 injectors and a fuel pressure sensor.
Which
Yeah.
makes
Harness.
total
What is-
fucking sense.
what does the 6-pin go to that gray wire to?
You would only use that if you're tuning with United Motorsport, and that is for the flex sensor plug.
Thank you. Okay. I get that question all the time because my pin is kind of hanging out around the
We
PCM.
tell everyone to kind of just tape it back.
I just set it there and leave it.
Yeah. If you
You
ever
tell them to
switch
tuck
or
it like front
if
to back.
Cobb ever comes out with flex or anything like that, then
I
you
hope
put it
so.
in, plug it in, you're good to go.
Cobb, Ed, if you're listening, let us know when it's coming out.
It's
because-
super
Yeah,
funny.
fuck
It's
up.
super like the whole Cobb situation, and like I didn't know that like Cobb didn't do flex fuel for MQB, because when you look at like the shit that they cover,
2
when you
more
look-
weeks here, someone says.
Yeah.
so
So Scrolllock says, Billy, sorry to interrupt you, Alex. What about the FFE catch can? What happened to
So
that?
Jake actually, who replied under him, Jake actually has it on his car. The only problem with
Yeah,
it
Tom, you're in deep
was
shit, bro. Deep shit.
the major problem is that cost.
oh.
At the end of the day, as much as we're enthusiasts and we love building these things here, how can I put it? It's not affordable. We're a business. I can't make a product that doesn't sell,
Right.
and I can't sell people $1,500 to $2,000 catch cans.
Fuck no, you
You know
can't.
what I
What
mean?
the
Oh,
fuck?
hell no, you
I
can't.
don't want to do that.
How much
so,
was
like,
your
what
catch? How
Jake-
much was your PCB setup, Kyle, from APR?
$699,
$699, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like a
$599?
yeah, like so like an
I
so
don't
like an
remember.
IAG like heated. So the big thing with
That oil
fucking-
air separator.
Well, no, the one
was
that's the
literally-
one that you run coolant lines through it, right? So basically,
Yeah.
you never have to empty the can because it keeps the
No.
oil hot and it'll just kind of no. I'm
No.
talking about STIs.
You and I have that.
Yeah, so it'll just you basically run 2 coolant lines to it, so it keeps the bottom of the can hot. So the theory is that you never have to empty the can, right? Because
Okay.
nothing ever coagulates in that bitch. That's $500, and it comes
Yeah,
with all the
so-
lines and all the shit. So
Yeah, that's how much
Yeah.
mine was.
So at the end of the
$2,000?
day, we priced it out making our own. So we'd have to do a billet PCV plate with
Mhm.
2,
Yeah.
I think it's -10 or 12s on it off of it.
Yes.
That plate alone to manufacture without going to China, because FFE does all of my manufacturing of all our billet parts to make it here in America and keep up with quality of what we want. It's probably would be around $150 to $200 a plate. And
it's
it,
really expensive.
I
really
would
fast.
honestly,
Yeah.
Me
So-
personally, I would honestly pay that for made in America shit.
Well,
Yeah,
so
but
that's
that's
just
you.
the plate. That's just the plate.
what-
Now the
dude,
crimp
yeah.
fittings for that Dash 10 crimp fittings, using the non-garbage eBay shit that everyone else seems to
You're
use.
about
and
to see
I
the
don't know
law
what
of
the APR uses.
exponential growth in full fucking effect right here. Watch
That-
this shit.
Yep, here you go.
That XRP fitting stuff for Dash 10 alone is about, let's see, in line and fittings, probably about another $100
I'd pay it.
in just that. Wait. The can from FFE replace. Now, here's the other thing: you have to relocate the battery to the trunk. The can is the size of your OEM battery.
Oh, good. So it's
And
like a fucking swirl pot for a fucking dry
Holy
sump. What the
shit.
fuck?
look at the race Hondas that go fast, or even
Yeah.
the fast 1,000 horsepower plus Volkswagens. They all have a catch can that's yay big,
Huge. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's vent atmosphere. So that's exactly. I'll post some pictures of Jacob's because his car is still here. Of it,
But
but
my
batteries
battery
relocated
is
to the
this
trunk.
big.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So his battery's in the trunk. The catch can is mounted in the battery tray. It has all the. Ed did a really nice job at FFE with it. Made all the tabs off of it so it locks in, and then you bolt it down so it fits just like a battery would. Has 2-10 ports or 12s. I can't remember. Off the front. Has an open vent off the top of it, and then it has one off the bottom that goes to the steel oil pan. So you're looking at a steel pan, all the lines, the can, the plate, and everything else. And then you have to still relocate the battery to the trunk. So at the end of the day, it's almost a $1,500 setup.
Yeah. Fuck that. I'm sorry. Hard fuck that. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It was for the point of it was back then. Let's see. Jacob's car was first built. His car is a prime example. So Jake has a built motor IMS 650 GTI with every bolt-on mod you could ever imagine, RPC intake manifold, the whole 9 yards. That car, when we first built it 3 years ago, which still probably year and a half, 2 years ago now. That car still ran up until about a month or two ago. It actually broke a wrist pin, which was a
Holy
wild failure.
shit.
Yeah, it actually broke a 22 millimeter JE wrist pin. That was a
Holy
wild failure.
shit.
I would have loved to have been there to hear the fucking noise that bitch made when that
Right.
fucking thing
It
went
wasn't that
go.
bad. Jake drove it for a little while. Okay, it still
With
drove
a
fine.
busted.
It didn't have any issues. The noise he was hearing was the piston tapping the head.
Yeah, I was gonna say because just from
Nope.
not being able to get caught on the clearance, right? Like it's not getting
Yeah.
restricted in its stroke.
It was crazy. We took it apart and we
Are
expected
those not?
to
Dude,
find
wait, and this is again
something else.
ignorance. Do MQBs? Do those not? Are they non-interference heads?
No, you
Oh.
break everything. Yeah.
Okay. So it was just
Non-interference.
enough. It was just enough slap to not destroy the valve train. Is
Yeah,
that
because we're talking like thousands. Like
millimeters.
that
Okay.
was it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you could
Yeah,
take it and just barely move the piston like this on it because it didn't break all the way through. But
Mm.
back then, his motor was early JE piston stuff when we first started getting away from the Mali pistons. The ring gap was looser than we run now, and it didn't have our total seal ring package back then. And he had blow by issues, like pretty much I think every
Well, I
single
think-
built motor
I think
car
the-
on the planet has.
Well, I think the thing too is like if you're not like, and I only use this name because they have all the R&D money in the world, like Holly, right?
Yeah.
Where you can be like,
So
we're gonna
APR.
we're gonna buy 75 engines and we're gonna try a bunch of different shit and we're gonna run them on dynos till they explode and we're gonna figure out what works, right?
So my personal Golf R went through 9 engines before I found what worked.
Exactly.
fuck.
Right. And you're paying out of pocket for that, right? And you're like a smaller shop doing your own thing.
Yes.
But so like when you're in that vein, it is inevitable that customer cars, whether you like it or not, are test beds because you're giving them the best of what you know at the time.
Well,
that
Jacob had come to me and he had bought my old catch can setup off my Golf R.
right.
Problem was the can wasn't big enough and it was the same concept. So because the car would still pressurize the crankcase like
Right.
all the other built motor cars
Stop
out
hating,
there,
Tom. Stop fucking
it would
hating.
essentially make a oil geyser in 4th gear. You would literally make an oil geyser out of the catch can. We'd go to the track with my car and then his. you would zip tie rags to it. You ever see Hondas and shit and wonder why they have the rags zip tied around the breather filters?
Oh no, I know exactly
catch
why
can?
they do that. I know
That's
exactly.
because the
you did.
oil expansion. Well, no, and the oil expansion pushes out.
Mhm.
There's all these recirculate.
Let me
So
piggyback
we
on
had
what
to do
Billy's
that,
saying.
and then we would have to put trash cans around it and zip tie the thing so the oil would all collect in there and not go all over the track.
So
or
all
over
of
the road.
those like socks, like the Mugen socks and the spoon, like oil and like fucking master cylinder socks that they sell, they're just supposed to look cool. They're for the reason he's talking about, because when you start pushing those motherfuckers, they weep and they spit and they
Yeah.
fucking bleed all over the place.
That
And you-
was a major
Splattered
thing.
oil down the side of the car a few times.
Literally,
Eh,
they would literally, yeah. So what we did with Jake is we did a bigger can. Now, obviously, Jake's car broke the piston or the wrist pin, so now he has new pistons in with a new rod set. And what we did is we now have, because things revise and develop, we have a ring package from Total Seal using their gapless second piston ring for the JE pistons we use. And what that gapless second ring does is it 100% seals a cylinder. So now with proper gapping of the rings, the cylinders are now being 100% sealed. We have almost zero pressurizing of the crankcase under high boost, because that's what it is. It's boost leaking down into the crankcase and pressurizing it. And again, this brings us back to what we talked about earlier. No one's measuring it. There's nowhere really good to measure it from.
Right.
So no one can tell you how good or not it is. And in Jake's car now, for instance, before he would complain of somewhat of an oil smell because it would still push oil into the can. The can's vented, you'd get the
Right.
fumes in the cabin. Now with the Total Seal ring package, I have the car tuned. It makes, I think, like 37 pounds
Holy shit.
and everything. The car flies on full ethanol, probably makes mid sixes, low sixes. And
fuck.
you don't smell a single thing. The can doesn't have any smoke coming out of it. There's nothing. And that's because the cylinder is now 100% sealed. So now when people ask me
Is that
what catch
because the
cans to use,
cylinder is?
it's
are
because
you
of the
guys-
gapless second piston ring.
You guys are born out to like 83 millimeter versus
Yep.
the 82.
So
So
I do not do a single built engine here unless we do machine work to it. And
100%.
FFE is the ones that do our machine
Is this
work.
going
So
back to what Kyle was saying before, where you guys like they have ovular cylinder bores? And you basically
not really. It comes down to the fact that you guys have probably seen me post about it. Guys that complain about the crankcase problem with their built motors. And the simple answer is it's fixed with better engine building. And what that means essentially is better ring package, better machine work now to setting piston to wall. So you have to have a very, very good machine shop that knows what they're doing. Again, shameless plug, FFE Racing probably is the best in the business when it comes down to that.
they are right
Like
now.
Ed, I'll drop Ed off 5-6 engine blocks, and I never have one that's fucked up or not right. And the piston to wall is set every single time perfect. We put the plate on it, gap our rings to it, do all of our assembly work after he does the machine work, and everything is perfect. And that's what it comes down to. The guys having the most blow-by problems are the ones that are just dropping 82.5 mil pistons
Yeah.
into the engine,
Set.
hoping for the best, and just they're doing it for a stronger engine. And if you can work around your blow-by problems or things like that, or you just gap your rings tight enough to where they almost butt, then you won't really have a problem.
Now, I don't know if you've heard of it, but what Alex was saying was from another VW mechanic is the factory block isn't like the cylinders aren't 100% like true circle. They're slightly oblong for heat expansion.
Yes and no, from what I found. It's gonna really depend on which ones you are. How can I put it? I had 5 engines that I measured out once, and a couple of them are oblong, a couple of them weren't.
Okay.
Iroz made a perfect comment about it when buying brand new 5-cylinder blocks. Some are perfect off the box, some have the oblong of the cylinder. So
Yeah.
I personally can't tell you why it is or why it isn't. I don't think anyone can give you that information unless it's an engineer at Volkswagen.
It's that
Everyone's kinda
Wednesday
guessing
to
at that point.
Friday
So, but
motor.
yeah, so the
So-
question there is then, if that's like an inconsistency, if it doesn't become a problem until the normal wall of where you would already need to be machining out the block anyway, then it's kind of inconsequential, right?
We do all of the machine work. Whether this answers a question or not, I'm not sure, but we do all the machine work to ensure consistency because that was one of the biggest things and growing pains of our engine building program, and kind of why we stopped doing them outside the shops was consistency. You could get an engine and we would build you one out of a core.
Mhm.
We would do all of the built components in it, give it back to you. An intake cam fails on the engine we provided because, they're used cams out of a core motor.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we do all new everything. And then the machine work, same thing. We'd have some cars that would have a blow by issue or two with drop in pistons. Guy would ship us a car. We build it, do all drop in stuff because that's what they wanted. And it was affordable. And then they complain of an issue. Now we do it where you do not get a choice. Like,
You
we
want
have
us to
two
build the
engine
car, this is how we do
packages.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yes.
have a street engine where it is everything brand new. It's a brand new remanufactured engine block, 0 miles. The only thing we use is the crankshaft, which is polished and measured and cleaned. The actual engine block itself, which we blast, clean, do the whole 9 yards through it, and the actual cylinder head casting. All the valves, rockers, retainers, seals, everything's brand new in that. So you get a full remanufactured, what we call our street engine, and that's $9,000. And then we have the
It's
race
really
engine
not
after that.
bad.
No. And then we have a race engine after that that's pretty much the same things. You get better rod. You get an FFE X beam rod. We put standard in that are high comp pistons. And you get 12 millimeter head stud, O-ringed deck, copper, custom Cometic head gasket. And and you get the total seal rings standard in that.
Nice.
So
that one's
yeah.
like 11,700, I
Just
think.
like honestly,
then-
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're in 9, why you wouldn't be in 11.7? I don't understand. But
No,
does-
we tell people that, and as soon as as soon as we tell it to someone and they tell me that that's too expensive, then I explain to them that they're probably not ready to build the car.
Let's be real. Like if you're telling people they're not ready for race car shit, I mean they're not ready. Like
so
No,
the question that I asked was the question that I was asking about as far as like the inconsistency in the cylinder bore was this, okay? We've kind of established that on a stock block, on a stock engine, right? You can put 5 to 550 horsepower through it, right? Right. So, and that's whether or not the cylinders are perfectly round or not. That doesn't matter. The trueness of the cylinder doesn't matter if that's the wall anyway, right? So whether or not that cylinder is perfect or it's oblong or whatever, if you want more than that, we're machining your fucking bottom end.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter, right? Like
Yeah.
it's who gives a shit? Because like
That was the biggest reason
Right.
of why we got away from doing the drop-ins was
Right.
exactly that. You'd have a motor where you'd build it the same way you built the one before it and the same way you build the one after it. And one has more blow by than the other.
Right.
And the other, one will misfire and one won't because one has so much leakage on a cylinder.
you're polluting
the-
the combustion chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what it comes down to again is, we're still a business at the end of the day. So what leaves here has to be perfect or else we're on the hook for it.
well,
it's bad. It's
Yeah.
bad business for you. Yeah.
people want to build race car shit and not want to pay for
Well,
race shit. Like
The other problem is inconsistency of places that just want to, how can I put it? They don't know what they're doing or they don't care to follow instructions because
Yep.
you guys are dealer guys. You know very well that the technicians hate following instructions.
I know.
What?
No.
And at the end of the
No.
day, when it comes down to it, we give people break-in procedures. And I've had cars and engines shipped to us after something, and we find some wild failure where you can tell the engine wasn't broken and correct.
So
Like,
what's
you
your
pull the
break-
oil
so-
filter off,
But
and it
goes
has
back-
a AutoZone oil filter in it that's
So
crumpled in and sucked together. And I'm like, Come on, man.
It
What's
goes back
your-
to people want fucking like Nordstrom's power on a fucking Walmart budget. Like
That's
people
a
just don't
really
want to spend the
fucking good way
money.
to put that.
It is. It's true though. Like people
Listen,
don't want to
if
fucking
you
spend the
spent
money to like do good.
$45,000 on a car,
Yeah.
if you even if it is like a brand new GTI, it's 30 grand. You think you're gonna take a 285 horsepower car to 550 horsepower?
200. Think
Gs.
think about it. It's the same engine in a Golf R. I don't care what the internet says. I don't
Yeah,
care what
it's the
everyone
same
says
shit.
crossing part numbers. When you actually put it all on a bench and you measure it out, they all break the same. They all pretty much the same. I mean,
Right.
we're talking about a couple thousand, like almost nothing of like lift duration between GTI and Golf R cams that people argue about online.
Yeah.
And how can I put it? They all you're going from a 200 essentially a 200 horsepower engine,
Mhm.
and some of these guys are making 700-800 horse out of them. Well, actually, I don't know
That's
anyone really
gonna
making
cost-
800, but
But that's gonna
you're
cost
2,
money.
4, 6, almost quadrupling the horsepower of these engines, and expecting something not to break, it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, and that's
people
where
wanna
you set
build
those
race
expectations.
and
Yeah.
and not expect it. People want to build a race car and they want it to last like a factory car. Like that's my biggest frustration is
Yep.
they want to build. So I mean, my factory horsepower 210 now making 520. So 3 times basic, two times,
Almost, yeah. 2.5
Yeah.
times the power. Yeah.
2.5 times the power. And I'm personally expecting something to break, right? Like I'm running full bolt-on factory motor, like nothing done to it. I expect my motor to fail.
At some point.
The average Joe and Billy, you're in customer service, right? People want to build these high horsepower cars and have them run like a factory car. It's not going to fucking happen. There's no way you're going to get an abnormal vibration. You're going to get, little weird
Yeah,
sound.
NVH is gonna go out the
And
window.
that's one of
Yeah.
the things actually that we've kind of perfected over the years is if you were near one of our cars that has a built motor, like where are you in California?
Yep.
You guys know where Cormotive is? Cormotive?
No.
There's a shop out there that does VW Audi. We have a customer out there that they put one of our engines in. You could put his Golf R next to any stock car and you wouldn't know it was built. It makes no
that shit's
additional
tight.
noise. It just
I
sounds
noticed.
exactly like a stock motor, and it runs
And that
perfect
was
every
kind of
single
the
time.
point I was gonna make is that like and this is kind of like rolling back to like an hour ago when I was asking Billy about like, yo, if I wanted to pick up, let's just say hypothetically, I'm picking up a Mark 8 Golf R. Let's just say, everything's tunable, whatever, right? I want to make X amount of horsepower. I want it to be able to drive every day, XYZ. If that's what you want out of your car, you need to ask those questions to the person that you're going to have build your car. Because they're going to tell you, like, listen, this is how much power you can actually make and not feel like you're driving a fucking race car every single day.
The
Right.
biggest thing though to fight though is the internet. It's because
Oh,
you will
big
get the guys that they have just their car. Their car works on the setup.
Right.
Like who was it in the EQT group? Sean Measle, I think, if I'm probably pronouncing his last name wrong. He was running his car on hybrid turbo stock block for months, racing and
Yeah.
everything on nitrous. He's making like 6 something
Jesus Christ.
until it finally failed. And you'll look at guys that will see that. And when you come to me and you tell me that you want to do that, I tell you no, it's going to break.
Yeah.
But then they show me that and they're like, well, this guy's didn't break. And I'm like, that's because he knew what he was doing. He did that. I was like, if I give it to you, chances are you won't know what to do with it. It will break.
Right. You don't know when he was turning the spray on. You don't know when he was doing XYZ. You don't know how he
Exactly.
was shifting. You don't know. He may have been short shifting from first, second, third, and then like laying it on in fourth and fifth. Like you don't know what the fuck he was doing to drive that car the way he was driving it.
And that's something that took me a while to learn because, I mean, you guys said it. You've been doing the podcast for 13 months now.
Something like that. Some shit like that. Yeah.
So let's see. I've probably been doing this for maybe just double that,
Okay.
like outside of the dealership, running the shop and things like that. And that was one of the biggest things I had to learn was what you stated earlier, metering people's expectations.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was the biggest thing because everyone expects the car to run like the one they see on the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone
That's how it
expects
works.
I get RS3 guys, TTRS guys all the time that all think that their cars are all going to run like Hank's car does. Or they come in and they see they'll see different guys golf Rs all over the internet that go fast. And they all think that, hey, if I buy your turbo kit that's using the same turbo as this, or if I buy this guy's turbo kit because this guy has it, it's all going to do the same. And the cruel truth is that it should, but it probably won't.
No. No, there's a median level, right? There's a point of established consistency. And when you start
Yeah.
deviating from that point, you have to understand that like the higher you go past that point, you're going to lose that consistency. Like I can make you 500 horsepower and I'm very confident that it'll work 95% of the time, like you said before, right? Now, if you want to go to 650 or 700 and I'm doing your bottom end, that consistency drops to 70%. Now you want to get to
You
8,
have to be
9,
prepared for failure.
right. You want to go to 8, 9, 1,000 horsepower. Okay, your consistency is going to drop to 40%.
Yep.
Right.
And
And
that's one of the things a lot of guys don't want to also hear. And you'll tell them that, but they don't want to
no,
hear
they
it
just
still.
think, oh, no, he's the guy who's building the car is just saying that. But I've seen the guy on the internet with a million YouTube videos. and he's
Exactly.
yeah, you're all fucking idiots.
Yeah, everybody
You
wants
cannot
a race
like
car
you.
and not expect.
What did we say
race
earlier, Kyle? Everyone wants 1,000 horsepower, but doesn't want the 1,000 horsepower problems that go with
All
it.
I want to say is if you want to think that
100%.
your race car is going to run consistently, I want you to go back and I want you to watch the last F1 season and you're going to look at vehicles with $1 million budgets fail over
Yep.
and over and over again because when
and
you're
you're
pushing
complaining about $3,000.
when you're pushing the ragged edge of performance of the platform, whatever said platform is, it doesn't matter if it's a Honda or a Volkswagen or an Audi or a
Yep,
fucking
correct.
Porsche or an F1 car. If you're pushing the ragged edge of performance, you're going to find the failure. That's what you're doing. Is you're paying money to
weakest
figure out
link.
where shit breaks.
Yep.
But now there's an inverse to that argument, though. The inverse to that argument is you got to look at it. We're not a UGR. We're not AMS. We're not building
Very
$100,000
true.
supercars where you come and you drop off your R8 and we charge you $100K and we make $80,000 of that in a profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you get a
So-
1,200 horsepower R8.
Yeah, which is sick. But that shit doesn't break. And the biggest thing is that everyone wants the shops that are making parts or building the cars to have already thoroughly tested it. And the cruel aspect and the cruel truth is that I bet you can't find a shop that does what we do outside of the supercar world that can do that. That can go out and just buy
No.
a Golf R and spend $300,000 on breaking shit.
Right.
It's
No,
not.
they
It's
can't.
it's
No,
not
it's
feasible.
and it's like and so again, I live in Texas, right? And I drive from so I don't know how much I don't know if you know anything about Texas at all, but there's the where I'm at. There's the Metroplex, right? So you have Fort Worth and Dallas. They call it
Yep.
the Metroplex. It's two cities on top, almost on top of each other, but in reality, that shit is 70 miles wide, right? So you drive from where I'm at, which is on the far west end of Fort Worth in the sticks, all the way into Dallas, which is where I work by DFW, and then Dallas goes farther past that. So I go from seeing nothing but F-150s and F-250s when I first get on the road to seeing 911 turbos and Uruses and fucking I see there's a fucking UGR tuned Lambo I see every single day on the way. This dude daily drives a UGR turned Lambo,
Hell yes.
which I'm fucking here for.
That's
'cause
some
if
shit
it-
I would do.
Yeah, no, listen, if I'm gonna spend 300 grand on a car and then another 50
I'm getting my
grand
money's
to-
worth.
yeah, I'm gonna drive that bitch every
Yeah.
goddamn where.
I'm
I
driving
don't
that
give
thing
a
in the
fuck.
winter. I'm driving
Oh
in the
fuck, I don't care.
snow.
I'm going to get
I'll-
fucking Whataburger in that
Yeah.
bitch. I don't give a shit. Right?
We have a friend's dad. He daily drives his R8, has snow tires for it, the whole 9 yards.
Fuck yes.
He wraps it every
Yes.
year. So what he'll do
Yes.
is he'll drive it through the
Yes.
snow, just peel the wrap off at the end of winter,
Get
and then
rewrapped.
rewraps it the next day.
Hell yeah,
That's
dude. Fuck that. If I'm spending 6 figures on a car, that bitch is getting 100,000 miles on it, no cap. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I see everything, right, from top to bottom. But to your point, if you're driving a $40,000 car and it's a relatively new platform, and this platform is very much like in development, right? It's not like a new car comes out and you instantly know how to tune it, make it super fucking reliable, make a fuckload of power. Shit's gonna break. We're figuring this out together. You know what I mean? Like we're working together to determine how much power we can make. It's like finding a good barber. You know what I'm saying?
So
Like you're gonna
going
get a
back
couple of fucked up haircuts before you really figure out how
Well,
you like
on
your
that
shit
topic-
to get done.
on that
It's true.
topic, and I'll probably get in some sort of trouble for talking about it.
Who gives a shit?
When did you guys come into the Mark 7 stuff, or even start?
Well, Kyle's been in
knowing
it.
that?
That's Kyle's shit. Yeah.
So I went from a 98 Jetta VR6 straight to a Mark 7.
Okay, around what year did you like become active online?
I've been a VW enthusiast like my whole life. So
Mark 7 specifically.
Mark 7, 2016.
Okay, so all right, so you were around. Let's see. Mine was a 16. I got it in 15. So I had my white R then. I don't remember if you ever remembered all my drama posts with what would go happen with mine. And I was exactly what you guys are talking about. I was the test car for a lot of different stuff.
Mhm.
My car I had the first manual Golf R in the States. So if you have a manual Mark 7 Golf R and you have a South Bend clutch, you're welcome, because that was developed using my car back then. I blew up 2 South Bend clutches. I ejected one out of the bottom of the transmission and blew the gearbox to pieces
Holy shit.
at the racetrack, testing them. And
really trying to like think about how mechanically how that happened. Like, I'm just-
I fucked up bad. If you watch the tape, I was in denial for like weeks. I was
Did
like,
your
"There's
money
no
shift
way
the
I
fuck
fucked
out of
that."
that thing?
Oh yeah, I went from 4th to 3rd at like 8,000 RPM, and everyone's like, "Dude, you money shifted that." You watched the shit explode out of the bottom of the trans into the track at Adco and everything. There's a crater there, I think,
Amazing.
in the right lane still from that. And they're like, everyone's like, "Bro, you money shifted that. You money shifted." I'm like, "Fuck, no, I didn't. This shitty piece of shit clutch blew up." And then I'm watching the video, and after like a week or two went by, I'm like, "Fuck, I did money shift that." And that was bad. It blew everything to pieces.
Bitch.
That's so
like,
great.
Bitch.
We ended up like, let's see, I lost that car for 2.5 years to APR for testing. I had the first APR stage 3 kit that wasn't installed at APR or at a dealer, and the car never ran right and had to go down to them to get sorted out.
If it makes you
It
feel
was
any
down there
better,
for
Dave lost
9
his
months, I
RS3
think.
at EQT and he works there for like a
Hey,
year. So, you know.
Mark 7, 5, yes, post that
Yeah,
shit.
Carrie said Carrie has the video still
Oh,
of
please
when,
roll that shit
when I
back.
injected
Please post that
And,
video. For the love of God, I want to see that shit.
that. It blew everything to pieces, dude. I'm talking everything. That blew the fans, the charge pipes, the transmission. It broke the engine block because it blew the starter to pieces and blew the starter off the transmission and the engine.
Beautiful.
I actually can't think of anything it didn't break because it just
So again,
did this when it
we're
exploded.
gonna roll back to what was the noise that it made?
Oh,
Felt like
I could only imagine it was probably like rolling over a landmine. Like
So
the
was
whole
it
car
like-
hopped and everything. Like it was.
So is it
bad.
like a dinosaur
You
trying
know-
to fuck Optimus Prime? Like is that kind
Yeah,
of how it's-
probably. And like a little one, like a little velociraptor or something. Yeah,
Great.
like it was bad, and that was not fun. I think the car sat off the road for a year after that
I
happened.
mean, that's a very
mind you,
expensive failure.
Even though although when I fucked up, I got to give it to him. South Bend came through clutch. Big shout out to Dave over there at South Bend. They hooked it up.
Pun intended
Sent
on
me.
clutch.
No, they sent me a brand new clutch kit. No questions asked. He was like, "We're looking at the video. We know you fucked up, but we'll still give you a brand new South Bend clutch. Just tell which one you want." And that was mad cool. of them.
I mean, oh shit, he just sent us a video. Holy fuck. Hold up.
You got to fast forward through a bit of it.
Let me see.
And somehow make it
Oh,
so
I
we-
don't know that I do, homeboy. I feel like he's got that shit cut up.
Gary,
pretty
what
good.
He's got it clipped. He's got
Gary,
it
did
clipped
you
already.
Gary, did you clip it?
Let's see the video.
Oh yeah, this is racing Scott Kennedy. You can see my ass driving here because those are identical built cars. Just one DSG and one manual.
Oh,
Yep. Yep. That sucked.
We're
That
just
was a hard day.
We're just gonna move. We're gonna move past
So-
that.
So
We're
fun
gonna move
fact
on.
about that day that no one knows from before that is I drove that car the 2.5 hours down to Adco Dragway to race
Oh
it
no!
for that track rental because on my way down there, the transmission in my F-250 blew up on the way down.
So you blew 2 transmissions in the same weekend? Is that what you're telling me?
So this
yeah.
whole podcast, you're telling me you're used to driving long distances and really
And braking. It's
Right.
why I literally laugh. And you can say I'm a dick for it, but I literally laugh at customers that build these cars and don't have AAA.
Oh, 100%.
And when they tell me they don't need AAA, I go, dude, I've been stuck in a lot of places where I need AAA.
And if you ever need AAA insurance in the great state of Texas, holler at your boy because he's a licensed insurance agent for AAA.
Oh,
Shameless plug.
and on that insurance plug,
Right?
And if anyone using AAA, remember you're always not in a safe area,
That's
and
true.
you're always scared, and you need to pick up right away.
Because
Yeah,
they will
get
pick
there
you up
really quick.
half the time.
Or you're waiting like 3-4 hours.
Yeah,
And
we
never
actually
tell
had an
them that your
incident
car
with,
is modified.
So Ovid, who just commented, we were down at the track with him, and Carrie, and they actually wouldn't tow him away from the same drag strip that I blew that transmission up, and they towed me. But then they wouldn't tow him out of the away from the drag strip
Was he too low?
back to
Or
the
did they
shop.
think he
No,
was
no, they
mod?
just straight up said, "Hey, we're not coming to get you because you were drag racing."
I mean, that's a very AAA thing to say.
I was getting groceries at the drag strip.
So the joke around the office is if it's fun, we don't cover it when it comes to cars. So, like they won't pick up my fucking STI. The last time AAA, I called AAA to get a tow in my STI. They made me
You
drive
probably
it
ran
up.
out of tows though.
No. It was the first one. They made me drive it up onto the truck because this bitch was too scared to drive a lowered car onto the truck.
See,
Well,
you're
at
better
least he
than
was
me. I
honest
usually
about
would
it.
get when I get towed, it's because something really broke, and I used to get too frustrated. So the front bumper of my Golf R, which I think you can actually find the Golf R on one of the auction websites because I'd sold it to Carvana,
Okay.
and I wouldn't.
Shout out
That
to
thing
that
would
poor
break
son of a
so
bitch.
much, I wouldn't care. I would just drive that thing right onto the trailer. I was like, the bumper rips off because I was so frustrated every single time because it was always the engine blew up. It was never something easy.
You're doing a great job of selling the reliability MQBs.
Hey man, I can't help it. That car was. If I go back and do 100 things different, I'd probably still own it today.
Yeah.
And that's super relatable. And on that bombshell, we have done we're pushing 3 hours on this podcast.
Bro, Billy, like
I could talk to you guys all day.
No,
we
this was
appreciate you,
super
man.
fun. We would love to
Yeah.
have you back on because this
we
was
gotta
a
have
great time.
segment
And
two.
I'm
We gotta
sure
have
we
segment
have
two.
Yeah,
Please.
I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about. And the more I talk about Volkswagens, the more I feel like I'm buying one in the next 6 months.
I
So-
hate you.
I'll sell you mine. How about that?
I don't want your fucking used bitch. I want something way cooler. Anyway,
Oh,
Damn.
no, your car is really nice. I just want to build my own.
Nick, it's something you can't vape in.
Wow. That's fucking ruthless. Anyway, thank
you.
you so much to Billy from A2B. We appreciate your time. Thank you to everybody who hang out. Thank you all the new
Appreciate it.
fucking people in chat. Like there was a ton
Yeah.
of like first
We
time
appreciate y'all,
commenters
man.
and shit. Thank you to everybody who followed tonight. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes. As always, you can find us
Do
at
it more.
twitch.tv/RedMat Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Red Match Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow A2B Motorsports on Instagram. Billy, plug all your fucking socials real quick so everybody knows where to find you guys.
At A2B Motorsport on Instagram. I think the Facebook is actually A2B Motorsports because some place in like Taiwan took A2B Motorsport for some reason.
They probably do
Yeah.
sick fucking
And
titanium work though, real talk.
Ah.
No, it's not even a valid place. The place is like closed down. The domain doesn't even work. Oh, it's
fuck.
horrible. But
Damn.
that's some shit I would do because I would totally go buy competitors' domains so they can't use them. But no, just we generally post all
Tom,
the
we love
stuff
you,
on the
buddy. We
story.
appreciate you.
Ovid does
Still
all
no
the social
Prius talk,
media,
though.
and he loves to tease some little things that we have going here and there that we either have out or don't have out yet. So
Yeah. That's what's up. This is probably going to be the last one of the year because the next one's going to be the 28th. We're going to be the middle of the
Yeah.
holidays,
That's
all
not
that
happening.
good that's fucking, it's flat out not happening. So we will see you guys in 2022, also known as COVID, the sequel. And we're going to keep coming out with you with some fire content. We're trying to get bigger and better. We're trying to do cooler shit. I'm trying to get these bitches out for fucking TX2K in March. And I think
hey, we'll
Billy-
see you guys there. If
That's
we
what
can
I'm
get
saying.
we're going down to
Oh,
Florida. I
shit.
think we're scheduled right now. First week of Florida, we're bringing our 3 cars: the white one from Colorado, Ovid's car, and Ovid's and mine's race car. We're gonna try
There you
to
go.
qualify all 3.
There you go. I'm already got cleared for 5 days off in March, motherfuckers. So it's up on you to get out here.
Yeah.
Going to Florida in
I'm
March.
there. Do it.
There you go. So we will hopefully see you guys in TX2K in March. If nothing else, we will definitely
We'll
see
vlog
you in
that shit when
January
we
of
do.
2022. And as always, we appreciate you guys. Drive safe, go fast, don't be dickheads. Peace
And
out.
don't get caught.
Don't get caught. Everywhere is Mexico if you believe.